What's up, everyone? What is going on? Happy Sunday. Listen, first and foremost, my apologies. If you guys joined the live watch party, which I appreciate everyone that joined live, I kind of explained, had a bit of a situation going on. My review, listen, we're going to get into the, first off, we got 105 people watching live. I appreciate y'all. Hit the thumbs up, share. Let's have some fun tonight. I said in my live watch party that literally all day I was having technical issues with my review. It's 45 minutes long. I have it finally set up. It'll be coming out like in 4 minutes, actually. So we're going to obviously have fun and talk about it tonight. Then after this, you can watch my more in-depth conversation. So, boy, when I tell y'all, your boy been struggling all day. Woo-wee, but I haven't been struggling as bad as Mr. Clark tonight, y'all. Ooh, what an episode. I put a poll in the chat. I don't know if you guys saw it or not. I put a poll in the chat with a simple question. Did you enjoy the finale? Yes or no? We're obviously going to break it down, the highs, the lows. There's still some unanswered questions, but again, for those that join the watch party, I'm pretty satisfied with most of the major questions that were answered in tonight's episode. Obviously, what happened to Annie K? We got that reveal, and ooh, that scene was rough in a good way. We find out what happened with the Wheeler case. You know, was it Navarro? Was it Liz? We find that out. And we finally found out what happened to the scientist. Boy, and I know that's going to be a controversial opinion for a lot of people out there. So it's going to be a good time, man. I am just so excited to be here. Before we get into it, I got some guests joining me here in a little bit. I want to take the moment, and I say this in my review once it's finally uploaded, and you guys get a chance to check it out if you want to check it out, of course. As I said in that video, and I'll say it again, the last 6 weeks have been awesome. Not only because I've really enjoyed the show, and we'll obviously talk about it tonight, but I really appreciate the support on the breakdowns, man. Liking, sharing, commenting, these after shows, the trailer breakdowns, it means a lot. So I really appreciate y'all, man. And we're gonna have a fun time tonight. So let me jump into the chat. Let me see who we got in the chat. Let's see. And I'm gonna check the poll here in a little bit to see what kind of what audience we're working with tonight. If people were happy, in the middle, or maybe a little disappointed. We'll get into, let's see. We got Vic. I don't know if the emojis are coming through. I don't know if those are good emojis, bad emojis. But what's up, Vic? Great finale. Excited to discuss what's going on Silver Scale. Yeah, thank you for joining the after party too, or the watch party, by the way. The finale was very satisfying. I love how the woman raised up and took control of the situation, but left Annie's tongue. But who left Annie's tongue? A topic of discussion for tonight, because that is a mystery. That is a mystery. We'll definitely keep that on the docket as far as things to address. Okay, episode. Insanely good. I would have to agree. I really enjoyed it. We got some fire emojis, kept us guessing. D saying I'm back, I'm sure, or despite the finale, but I wasn't disappointed. That's good to hear. And listen, if you were to, I'm going to pull up the poll here in a little bit, or check it on my phone. I'm gonna see. Look, if you were disappointed, it's understandable, right? Not all finales stick the landing, but I think that this did a pretty solid job giving us the main questions being addressed. Navarro Wheeler case, Liz Holden situation, obviously Annie K, scientist. So like the major things that I had on my checklist were addressed. But I completely understand if some people were like, but I wanted that, I wanted this. And, there were some things left on the cutting room floor that I would imagine in regards to some of the reveals that we got tonight. But let me see who else we got in the chat. What's up, Lola? Vic saying hi. See, hey, I respect it. Horrible ending. Hey, Allison, let us know why if you're still here. I would love to have that discussion to see what didn't work for you, and for anyone out there, if it didn't work for you guys, I would love to have that discussion. Let's see. All right, so I'm just reading through some of the comments, and we got a mixed crowd nonetheless, but very excited to get into tonight's festivities. But with that being said, man, a couple weeks ago, we had a couple guests joining us, had a good discussion with them, and they are here to join us live. And there's also maybe one more person that might join us, but as of right now, we got the 3 guests that, like I said, joined us 2 weeks ago, if my math serves me right. But they are here to join us again. I'm talking about Nine from NINENERDYARD and the brothers from the Drunk Banthas, Alex and Bill. What's going on, guys?
Hello. Thank you for having us back on.
Yes. What's up, Nine?
It's going well, man. It's going well. How about you?
Listen, man, I've been listen, not to get too much to the weeds. That was literally a 9-hour process of the app that I used to edit crashing and not up. It was a tragedy, but nonetheless, It will be coming up later, or actually now. But forget about my issues and my trauma. What's going on to my guests? Let me toss it over to you first, Nine. If this is, again, you joined us a couple weeks ago and you've been on the channel before, but just in case, we got 132 people watching live, just in case it's their first time coming across you, Nine, why don't you let them know who you are, my friend?
Yeah, absolutely. NINENERDYARD. I got my own YouTube channel where I do movie and TV show breakdowns. You can also find me at Nerds at Night, where we all get together and make little videos, and we'll probably be going over this finale tomorrow, actually. So if you don't get your fix tonight, you can also get it tomorrow with us.
Yes, sir. Nine has a lot of great stuff on his channel, man. I'm so glad to have you on, man. But join us again. Like I said, a couple weeks ago, they joined for the first time and got them back again. The brothers showing some love and joining us tonight. Bill and Alex, man, why don't you let the people at home know who you are and where they can find you?
Hello. Yes. Thank you so much for having us back on. I'm Alex, aka Jedi Master Grayson. This is my brother Bill, and we host a podcast called the Drunk Banthas Podcast. Where every Monday we've been covering True Detective, and we're also going to be covering Halo and talking about the new casting of Fantastic Four. So check that out if you want to hear some nerd chat. But yeah, we're really excited to break down this finale, man. Thanks for having us back on.
Shout out to all you beautiful nerds out there.
Yes, shout out. Yeah, I'm very curious to hear you guys' thoughts on Fantastic Four, because interesting cast of actors.
Yeah. I'll give you a sneak peek.
Very interesting cast.
I don't like it, but I'll let you know. I'll let you know why tomorrow.
I'll also give you a sneak peek. They chose the wrong Stranger Things kid to be Human Torch.
Okay.
All
right. No love for Eddie Munson. No love for Eddie.
I like Eddie.
I can't really.
But they chose the wrong Stranger Things kid for this.
I got you. Well, listen, we got another special guest joining, and it has been a minute, to say the least. I think the last time I had her on the channel, we talked about Amazon Prime Swarm, and haven't had her on since. But even without that, she's been killing it on YouTube. She's been doing her thing with recaps. She hosts her own live shows every now and then. She's just an awesome person. So excited to have her on and get her thoughts on the finale and just catch up with her. I'm talking about the one and only Elle Bee.
Hi.
What's good? Good. It is so good to see you. Nine, I think you might have met Elle Bee at one of our streams. If not, Nine, this is Elle Bee. Elle Bee is Nine. Bill and Alex. Yeah.
Hey y'all.
Nice to meet you.
How did y'all? So I'm gonna just because I know nobody else is thinking it. Well, maybe somebody else is, but the thing that's top of mind for me is who the hell peels oranges? I don't.
That's an Alaska, instinct, I guess. B.
Alabama, we
Interstate.
peel them in Alabama. We peel oranges in Alabama.
Peel it with a knife?
With a knife,
that
yeah.
is weird.
No,
drink.
what she was doing, she was making a drink. Yeah, at first I thought that was her peeling it like Navarro said, like her mom does.
Like her mom or Jules, yeah.
But what she was doing is making a spritzer.
Mm.
She was giving it some zest. Twist. She needs some zest to her vodka. That's all that is. Because I got some bartender friends, and I was thinking the same thing you were thinking. I was like, oh, she just gonna pop. It ain't as easy as it look, huh? You can't do it in one by like her mama did it, did you?
Right.
But I mean, even if that were the case, it's an emergency. We don't need a garnish right now.
Listen, V, they were out there drinking coffee while going on this journey to face their past. But before we get into discussion, Elle Bee, why don't you let them know who you are, where they can find you, and all that good stuff?
Yes. So I'm Elle Bee. My camera is dirty. I'll clean that in a second. But you can find me on my channel, Watch With Me, Elle Bee, where I give you fun, fresh, and funny rants, reviews, and recaps on my favorite movies and TV shows. I'm going to be dropping my finale for True Detective Night Country on tomorrow. And I'm currently also recapping and reviewing Truman Capote versus the Swans. It's very, very messy. And I'm going to be doing something else I have coming up. I can't remember right now. It's late, but please subscribe to my channel if you haven't. It's a really great time, and I've built a great community. So if you want to be a part of my great community and a community of other like-minded folks who love TV and movies and just talking about them all the time, give me a subscribe. I would appreciate it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I got a question.
I will second that. Yeah, go ahead.
Because I love your background. Who's in the cast photos in their like bottom left?
Right here?
Yeah.
So I went to my first Comic-Con. I went to New Orleans Comic-Con in January. And this is Daredevil. This is John Bernthal. And this is Charlie Cox.
Okay.
So I saw the back of Vincent D'Onofrio's head. Okay, so
that's a big head. That's a big head.
I was he's very, very nice in person, but that was me at Comic-Con, and I was talking so much that my picture looks crazy. It looks crazy. But when you go in these places, you don't have time to talk. They don't let you talk.
Yeah,
it's like you got to get out. But I was like, hey, but I'm proud of it though. That's my buddy.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah,
that's what's up. And not to kind of piggyback off 9 for Elle Bee. Are you excited for the new Daredevil, Born Again, and all the stuff coming on with the MCU?
I'm feeling good about the way things are going. Like Kevin Feige done maybe his hat was too tight or something. He let it loose a little bit, and I just like trying to get it together. I'm very excited for Daredevil, especially since I know they're gonna, they're rewriting it and giving us, the fight scenes early on in the season. I'm pumped. I'm ready for it.
Yeah, I agree. I think she's right. I think Kevin Feige loosen up that wave cap. You know what I'm saying? Let them waves just crush down and just loosen up a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. But we got a HBO murder mystery to talk about tonight, and I want to start round table style with you, Elle Bee. This is your first time. Again, you have your reviews on your channel. Everyone check them out. Everyone you see on the panel, their information will be found in the description by the time this is uploaded. But Elle Bee, just general impressions up until this point, and then leading into just how did you feel about this finale? Did you feel satisfied? Look disappointed? Let us know your thoughts.
So I think I need to let it marinate a little bit because it's really, really fresh. I need to sit and think and just be with my thoughts a little bit because as of tonight, as of right now, I'm a tad bit annoyed. I do feel like they answered some of the bigger questions that we were all looking for, which is great. But it really is True Detective style, though, right? They don't hand it to you
all the answers. Yep.
So I think I have to kind of get that in my noggin, but I thought the episode was great. The finale episode was great. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the entire season, and I think once I again let it marinate and let it just think about it a bit, I think my feelings about it will change before I do my review. But y'all gonna get me uncensored tonight, so it is what it is.
What about you, Bill and Alex? How did you all feel about just, obviously we'll break it down. And there's a poll in the chat too, by the way, everyone, if you want to let us know, just yes or no if you enjoyed it. But Alex and Bill, how did you guys feel about the finale?
Yeah, we just finished it. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like fresh. Hot off the presses, these thoughts. I liked the episode, but there's so many unanswered questions, so many. Like if this was a paint by numbers, I'm missing some paint and I'm missing some numbers. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot missing. Yeah. But there's a lot that was answered, but it's like as many questions as they answered, they also created more questions. And I was just so happy. Just want to say this. I was so happy we did not see Rust Cole in this episode.
Yeah, some people were hoping. Yeah,
I love being right that certain theories are wrong. I don't be right with my theories, but I like it when other people be wrong with their theories. Is that weird?
No, not at all. I was on the same. I was hoping that he wasn't going to appear because that would have distracted the whole storyline, and people would have been like, "We want more." No, so it was. Yeah, and we'll talk about that too. Like did the show need the Russ Travis connection, the Spiral, the Tuttle family? Did that help the show, hurt the show? So we'll get into that as well. What about you, Alex? How'd you feel about the finale, man?
On the whole, I really enjoyed it. I thought there were some really good performances. We'll talk about that Jodie Foster scene later, but I thought it was really good. They answered a lot of questions in a really interesting way, and they did something that I really like about Reservation Dogs, where they leave sort of the supernatural elements of the Native American aspects of the show just kind of up to interpretation for the viewer. So it's like, okay, there could be a logical answer for this, or it could just be some spooky shit. But that's just like up to you. Some of the stuff, like I would have preferred some, straight up answers for, but we'll get into the nitty gritty of that. But on the whole, I really enjoyed the episode.
Christopher Nolan directed this episode, didn't he? Somebody.
Issa López was on her thing.
Tiny stuff going on.
Talk to me, Nan. How we feeling about the episode and as a whole, and we'll get into the discussion.
I mean, when it comes down to the poll, like I hit that yes button. Like I did enjoy this finale, but I'm feeling a lot like a lot of people in the comments right now, a little conflicted about like, really, is that it? Is that what we're going to get? But I'm actually really feeling the fact that, I just found out that this was not supposed to be like True Detective. It was just originally supposed to be Night Country. And I'm really feeling that tag on right now. It feels like they inserted the True Detective-ness after the fact.
Yeah.
Yeah, to a certain degree, that is absolutely what happened. Yep.
Night Country, / True Detective.
Well, it was supposed to be like, it is a True Detective story, but they wanted to veer off so much into more supernatural. So then they just ended up putting that, that Night Country on there to define that this is different than what we're used to.
They should have said that then. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if that was common knowledge.
It wasn't.
I'm just now hearing about that, but I feel like if that was the case, then they should have made that plain to folks, because if you give me True Detective, it's going up against season 1 every time.
Right.
And if it's a different ball game, then it's not the same measuring stick. You know what I mean? So if you're not telling us, the fans, the people that view it, what you're doing, that's a disservice to the folks that work on the show and the actors and the whole nine, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's definitely a topic to circle back on. Again, bringing it back to the True Detective nature of it. Was it a satisfying True Detective story versus the Night Country of it all? And so just to kind of briefly share my thoughts, and then we'll jump to discussion. I'm satisfied. I was fortunate enough to see the episode a couple of times, so I was able to kind of marinate with it, take in some of the little Easter eggs, character moments and whatnot, and just come to appreciate some of the more arcs for our main characters. But we'll get into that here. But I want to go back to you, Elle, and starting off with just kind of the mood, the horror elements when we open this episode with seeing Navarro and Liz at the top of the peak of the Night Country from courtesy of Otis. How are you feeling about just kind of setting the mood, right? We're underground, we're in the Night Country, Navarro's hearing things again, and out of nowhere, boom, here comes Clark. How did you feel about just kind of the setting up the mood into this first 5-10 minutes of the episode?
Yeah, it was very tense for me in the early parts of the episode, and especially once they got into the cave itself, even before they saw Clark just being tight in those caves, being not only underground,
so claustrophobic,
just being tight with those caves, you know what I mean, and having to go in these small spaces, and even with a light, that's the fear of the unknown times 12. Like, you underground and in a cave and in ice and in the wilderness. That's a lot of variables to be trying to deal with. You know what I mean? So it was very tense for me. And I knew somebody was gonna pop out. I you know what I'm saying? Like, I knew somebody was gonna pop out. I had a feeling it was gonna be Clark, but you never know in the show. But somebody pops out in every episode. So I was prepared for the jump scare of him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, boy.
Like, first of all, how did he even get that? How did he even got down there? Like, why are you even there? With a blanket. So
just a blanket under the just chilling, literally chilling.
Very tense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was done very well. And I don't know if they had, was it maybe music or maybe it was like breathing or whispers or
it was the whispers that Navarro's voices
so
and stuff.
that was making it real tense too, because I watched this show in the dark. So
same.
You know
that's the only way to do it. That's the best way to do it.
It was the whispers was adding to my feeling of tension.
Yeah. What about Nine, tossing to you, man. We open up in the night country. We pivot over to this underground laboratory. Immediately when you saw that, Nine, were you thinking, are they experimenting on animals, people, zombies, Cinda? What was your thoughts seeing this laboratory as they inevitably look up in the ceiling and there goes that spiral?
Well, first of all, when they were going through the caves, I was looking at the ice and I was like, dang, that ice looks good. Like, I want to chip off a little piece of it. And I want to chip off a piece of it and put it into my drink or whatever.
Yeah, man.
And I love I love like that little Three Stooges moment. Like,
falling through the ice.
Down, and she's just like, I'll go get help. And then just falls down too. I'm like, already closer to the edge. Like, don't do that. But when I was like, what the hell could possibly going on? Like, why would you need another lab like this? And the fact that it was covered in that markings, I was going straight up to they're making like zombies or something, Or
damn, you went to zombies?
I went to zombies. I went to zombies.
Episode 6, you went to zombies?
I went to zombies, like or like some type of reanimation type of thing. Like they or even like they're experimenting on like a polar bear or something, and that may be the polar bear that we've seen. But I was completely mystified. And when we first saw what's his name? Travis, when he popped up.
Clark.
Yeah. Clark, yeah. Oh, yeah. Not Travis. But Clark, he I really thought that was like going to be just a vision. I thought he was not really there.
There was a couple of times I felt like there was dream sequences. But, we'll get to it when it gets further down into that section. Oh, when I saw that generator, when I saw that cave that they fell into and he ran behind with all his little, scientific equipment and stuff, I was like, man, where is the gasoline and the generator for all of this? How in the world did he do this? But then, it was like, oh, aha. Yeah. Aha. This is was it Salal? Yeah.
Salal, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, it was interesting way that they revealed all that, because at first you're just like, oh, wait, how is this guy even down here with just like a blanket? These girls got heavy.
He's down here barefoot.
It's like, but then as they go through the space, it really it was a really interesting way to have the audience discover what was going on until they finally question him later on.
Yeah, I mean the whole. So for me, this opening, great, like you guys said. I love the tension and the use of the whispering and how we go to this laboratory and how it was all connected to Salal this whole time. I love the setup here. Question I have is for you guys is in regards to the sense of being back at Salal. Did anyone else have this feeling of deja vu almost? Like we were, as we'll talk about later, time goes in a circle. Like it felt like they were recreating some of those opening sequence moments from episode 1. I don't know if that was purposeful, if they were in a time loop. I mean, we'll get into that a little bit later, but I do like that sense of like being confused. And again, having seen it a couple times, I don't know if you guys caught it, but this was almost kind of like the trajectory of both characters. Like when Navarro was doing her thing, she sees the footprints and follows it. Liz, I don't know if you guys noticed, but when we saw Navarro's perspective, she didn't hear that twist and shout song. So that to me was like the setting the stage for like, they're both dealing with their own supernatural, talking to the dead or the dead trying to reach out to them. So it's a many different moments that we get that throughout the episode. But as they go through the whole Salal, we see Mr. Clark come up with a good idea to lock Liz into this little container, knocks Navarro over the head, and that was a bad move for him because he ended up on the floor himself. Catching them hands, man. She's always ready for the action. I love that about Navarro. But what did you think about that whole kind of setup with the Navarro running into Clark? Where was he taking her, by the way? Like, what was his idea? What was he going to do with her after catching her?
So what I remember when I saw Clark and that whole part of the finale is that Clark is not all in his noggin, right?
Yeah, he got some screws loose for sure. Yeah.
And so, when you see that and when you remember that, you don't really know what to expect, right? Because that's what I was thinking too. Like, where would he be taking her? Like, is he gonna like put her outside? Is he gonna put in where would he be going? But then I thought, well, this is the same person that's been wearing his dead girlfriend's coat for 6 episodes. This is the
talk about it.
A trailer that's chock full of shenanigans and a stuffed doll of his girlfriend in the trailer. This is the same man that said something. He said something wow when he was tied up. He was kind of talking, and I was like, oh, okay, well, you can't really trust anything that he says, right? Not to say that people with mental health illness are not to be trusted or you can't believe what they say, but that's the case. I'm just so sorry. Like Clark, I don't believe nothing he says. So I don't know what the point of that was. He definitely should have thought before he did that to Navarro, because she's about that action. She be itching to punch somebody in the face. I thought it was a little, I don't know. The scene with Clark was, especially when they started, kind of when they tied him up and put the things in his ears and they were trying to get a confession out of him. What he came back with wasn't satisfactory enough for me. And I wanted them to push him more than what they did.
They knew he was lying.
I mean, yeah, but
they knew he was tricking.
You already punched the man in the face 22 times. Let's get at
bust him one more time. Pop him in the dome one more time.
You know what I mean? So
yeah.
But I thought it was okay. I wanted them to beat him up more or something. I don't have no heart for fictional characters that do bad things. I just
right.
I toss it into you, Alex and Bill. What did you guys think about again that supernatural situation going on very early on with Navarro seeing the footprints? Are we under the assumption that she did see those? Was it all in her head? Was it her sister that she saw the same footprints from episode 4? What did you guys think about kind of those supernatural little Easter eggs that we were kind of building up to?
I thought that the wet feet was what's his name? Clark.
Oh yeah.
Oh, coming from.
I felt like those was his feet, and that's how she kind of like, was able to kind of find, get to where he was at in the building. And but I just want to speak to his mindset. Because I'm curious. I hadn't done a lot of rewatching of season 1, but doesn't one of the guys that Woody Harrelson's character, isn't the guy that he kills, doesn't he talk about how time is on a Did he not say the same thing, or did they not mention that at some point in season 1?
Cole said that.
Yeah.
Cole. Yeah, somebody had said it
spiritually
in season 1, and so I do see where they did make certain connections to season 1. Like we got to remember that the cult. Well, I don't want to go into all that, but I felt like the supernatural was these people's way of coping with certain things. You know what I'm saying? because all of these things are happening. Like they got stuff that's really happening, and some of it's unexplainable. But we are talking about Native Americans, Native North Americans. You know what I'm saying? Inuit people. They take that stuff to heart. They take it as like, this is gospel. You know what I'm saying? This is how it went down. We have these spirits and they watch over us and whatnot. So I think we have to, at least for the telling of this story, we have to take all of it into account as the truth. We can't just separate one or throw this out with that. Like we have to take into account all of that and just use it all together, which means we're going to have things that are even more unexplainable. Right, because we're taking spiritual or supernatural as gospel, as well as the scientific and practical.
Yeah. What about you, Alex? Any thoughts on just kind of the beginnings of the supernatural presence with Navarro and walking through the hallway and all that stuff?
Yeah, I think that's I mean, like I was team science all season. I was like, they'll have a logical explanation for this at the end. This will be like the end of like Red State, where John Goodman sits down and tells everybody exactly how everything went down. But since it didn't have such a logical explanation at the end for everything, I am more team supernatural. Like I feel like maybe Navarro just got the Phoenix Force or whatever, she just went we'll talk about the ending later, but I guess that she just became the embodiment of whatever spirit was in these caves, and that just like lends toward all the sort of supernatural things that you can't really explain. To your point, like the differences between Danvers and Navarro's experiences in Salal when they get back there, and all the strange visions that Navarro has of Clark. I feel like there's still something unexplainable that's happening here, and I like that aspect of it. I was like, okay, I was wrong. There's some shit that's not really explained.
There's some meat on that bone.
Yeah, no, for sure.
So I like the way they put it.
What about you now? How'd you like kind of the beginnings of the supernatural messages and little totems and things that they came across early on in this episode?
Yeah, I mean, that was kind of like where they started entering that journey. It's almost like an ayahuasca trip or whatever. And I think like so much of this story's purpose is like about like just like letting go for these two characters. And they all had to do that through their own journey. I was a little bit confused about like the the Ferris Bueller twist and shout thing that was happening to Danvers. And I feel like they could have explored a little bit more, not to say that we didn't get like good scenes with her later in the episode, but I was trying to figure out what exactly was the point of that like time loopiness right at the beginning there.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, man, it's gotta be it's an episode missing, right? Anybody else get that feeling watching this? Anybody else get that feeling? I felt like
it's gotta be, but like 30 minutes, maybe.
This was a 75-minute episode?
Yeah, so hour 15.
Yeah, man. I don't know, man. It can't be. I feel like there's an episode missing because, like you said, we don't get anything explaining why Liz hates Twist and Shout. Maybe she just hates Ferris Bueller's. That would be an absurd. That would be an absurd thing to have in your movie. Who hates Ferris Bueller?
Well, she did mention in one of the episodes that she has she doesn't like the Beatles, or she hates the Beatles. I think that was like the first episode, and then that they mentioned that it has like some sort of connection to her dancing with her, dead.
But we didn't see that though. I'm just saying we didn't see any correlation. We never saw any of that happen. We just assuming that. But then this episode, we didn't get that, that closure, I guess.
I can't remember the episode that it happened, but there was a scene where her and Holden were in the room and there was a little radio playing and that song was playing. So and again, it's a lot of things that weren't like explicitly told to us. So I just took the subtext as that's a song that her and her son shared together. And now that he's gone, she hates it. She doesn't even want to be reminded of it. So I just kind of, again, it could have been explained.
That makes sense. That makes
sense.
Put
A and B and kind of associate it together.
When you think about Twist and Shout and all the times that it played and it was on a loop and the whole thing, then they bring us the Wheeler whistling.
Yeah, you whistle to her.
But how does Wheeler know that that's a trigger for her?
See, that's what I was thinking.
That's like a part of, because the whole thing with Wheeler every time we saw Wheeler, we didn't know what was happening. It could have been the truth, it could have been a lie, it could have been a partial
Correct.
truth. It could have been, so in this episode, when I thought that we were getting the truth about Wheeler, Evangeline popped him. Why would that even be in the flashback or in real life? How would he know to whistle, twist, and shout? Was that a coincidence?
I think that was honestly going back to what was in their head. I think that was just in Liz's head. Like, I think in certain situations that they find themselves in, that it's just like a coping mechanism or like a triggering event or something just triggers something that's very traumatic to them. So I think in her head, she thought that he would, because like you just mentioned, LB, every time we saw that scene, we saw it from Liz's perspective, we saw from Navarro's perspective. They were literally switched every time we saw it in there. So I think it's just one of those occurrences where, there's two lies and a truth is the truth is, we might didn't see it. So I just associate that with, that's what Liz just kind of in her head, like to trigger herself, like, I'm going to kill him because he's whistling this song about and the same with Navarro. I see this dead girl. He just killed her. So I'm going to, like, little things like that kind of created this kind of narrative in her head.
I think that's right. Cause we did find out later that Liz told Navarro, like, hey, I was gonna do it.
I was about to kill him. Yeah,
I was about to kill him if you hadn't look. You kind of caught me off guard because I was about to kill him.
Yeah, never whistle at Jodie Foster.
Don't cat call. Don't call Miss Foster now. Y'all better leave Miss Foster alone.
Exactly. Well, we got over 146 people joining us All-Star Weekend. Obviously, we Valentine's Day week and all that. So all the people joining us tonight, I really appreciate y'all.
Happy birthday to my girlfriend. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to Bill's girlfriend. And anyone's birthday out there that's celebrating, but hit the thumbs up, share, and continue to drop your comments in the comment section. I think we got a super chat I don't want to miss. Appreciate the love there. I kind of wish that there wasn't an attempt to tie this up, and I will definitely keep that in the pocket when we wrap things up later. As far as that we need that True Detective overarching of the show. Did it hurt it? Did it help it? We'll get to that, but appreciate the super chat there. We don't get a lot from this character, but let's just talk about some of the stuff that we got from him. Starting with you, Nine. I'm talking about our good old boy Peter. For the last few weeks, we've all been kind of speculating, like, there's something off about Pete, man. He just too cool for school. And after last week's event, after shooting his dad in the head, he just seemed way too nonchalant for me. Obviously, we find out that he is, he's not the bad guy, if you want to call it that. But now, just your thoughts on this scene here of him, cleaning up Liz's or his, mess ups, his bloody bath that he created last week, and talking to Leah here. Did you think he was good on his feet, coming up with the little, I don't want my wife and child to by themselves. He go back home. Like, what do you think about Peter navigating through this situation? Did he do a good job of lying?
Just straight up on his face, you can see like there's something completely wrong about what's going on here. And because he's been going through it. The fact that he just had to kill his dad, like, what? That's insanity.
I mean,
I really felt like in the scene, I really felt like he didn't really do a great job cleaning up, but at the same time, it doesn't seem like anybody's going to be digging into it that much. So it's almost like when we're talking about like that time as a flat circle, right? It's that continuation, the cycle continues, right? Because this is something that his dad has done. This is something that Navarro and Danvers have done. And it's almost like a rite of passage. Like, don't be a cop in Alaska, or else you're going to have to be covering up a body or murder or something.
Yeah, I agree. What about you, LB? What did you think about Mr. Peter here in regards to just kind of thinking quick on his feet? He didn't. And again, that's why before obviously we got the review, I'm like, Peter's just too good at this. Like, he is way too calm. He's been cleaning up this mess. He just killed his dad 15 minutes ago, but he is cool as a cucumber. But what do you think about Peter in this situation now?
I don't care what y'all say. Something is off with him. Like, I just still feel that. Like, he didn't kill Annie K. He didn't do anything with the scientists. My man's is sketchy. It's no other way out. He's sketchy. I definitely understand being in shock after you kill your daddy, but listen. And then when he was cleaning up the mess, he was pissing me off because he was like, like one little spray, and like he just came with some big towels and was. I was like,
he did not do a good job.
That's because you was raised right. That's because you was raised right.
Wrong. I don't know, something about it. You know, you can be in shock and still be upset. You can be in shock and still emote. You can be in shock and still need to process it, or like try to process it and not be able to. My man shot his dad and was like, "Y'all go ahead.
I'll take care of it.
Like, I'll take care of it. Don't even worry about it." That to me is weird. How are you cracking iPhones? Everybody else got to get an FBI warrant to get into an iPhone. I got it. How are you finding out all of these things when these seasoned detectives can't find it? Peter is sketchy to me. I'm glad he's not a murderer of other people. He murdered his daddy. His daddy was trash, but
buddy,
he's still sketchy. So, I mean, I hope he cleaned up well and he did a great job, I guess. But
he didn't even take a shower well. Like in that shower scene, I saw like blood on the like tiles. I was like, you
gotta get it together. He was sketchy.
Samuel Jackson will be furious.
I need to call the wolf.
We'll pivot over to the brothers, Alex and Bill. Just, I guess, sticking to the because again, we didn't get a ton from Peter, so I guess just keeping it on the conversation with him. Kayla goes to the house, drops off, Leah, and she smells that something's off. But for the first time this season, they actually agree on something. He has to do this on his own, and she, told him, gave him a kiss and let him go about his business. But I guess since that was the only scene we got from them, Bill and Alex, how'd you guys feel about just, I guess, their relationship? Did you feel like it was handled well, developed well? Did you feel like that was an earnest moment between the two?
I thought it was an earnest moment. I also felt like everybody commits murder at some point in this. That's the way it looked like, because he didn't. I
thought you was about to just be like, everybody commits murder every once in a while.
Oh no, everybody has to kill somebody, don't they? Y'all ain't never killed nobody. That's crazy. No, everybody seems to have murder on the brain, or at least is familiar with it, dumping bodies and all kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, because he didn't even say I killed nobody. She said, did she make you do something bad? And he said, I did it. And she was like, oh.
Yeah, I thought he was on slip up
there. Yeah, then she gave him the kiss, like, be back, because I know what you got to go do. I know you back. Yeah. Go handle it now. Don't come back here until you handle it. But come back. So I think that he also, that's my first one, Ennis is weird. Everybody in Ennis is weird. Because Rose done killed some people, obviously. 100%. Right? Like, you know what I'm saying? I know we're going to talk about that. But Peter, this is his first body that he caught, but he probably wanted to kill his dad for a minute. Like, in his mind, his dad, they've already implied, and he got hit by him. I forgot.
You're going to slap him like that when he's a grown
ass. You've been beating the shit out of this kid, man. So I just feel like he probably already had it. Like, one day it's going to be me or him one day. Because I know it's going to be that one day. But he ain't did nothing to cross that line. But, when he went through his laptop and he knew that he was a part of like hiding Annie's body. Yeah, man, I think it just sent him over the top. Then he watched him actually murder somebody in real life, and he as they say in The Wire, Peter is good police. Yeah, he's real police. Yeah. And so is Liz and Navarro. They real police. You don't say police, you say police. You know what I'm saying? So I think they're just really too good at their job, but and too good at killing people. I mean, hiding bodies. What'd you feel, Alex, about Peter?
Kind of the same. Yeah, he's just a really good cop, and he had a really terrible dad. He's got to put it in a really in a impossible situation where that's kind of all he could have done. And his dad kind of pulled Suicide by Cop. I liked them, but that's the whole other. But
full disclosure, we knew a guy in high school who did kill his father. Him and his brother plotted to kill their father. And they was looking like normal dude, but he was also abusive to them, and they was just walking around doing normal stuff. So it does happen, but it is weird. I'm not saying that it's not weird.
But yeah, like Peter and Kayla, like I thought it was like a nice sweet moment between them, the way that whole thing tied up. I'm glad that it's not just a total miserable existence for him and her. Yeah. Like they have some sort of understanding toward the end. There's obviously still going to be some trauma there over that. And there's probably a discussion like later on. It's like, hey, so what exactly did you have to do that night? But right now, it's just like everything.
30 years later.
Yeah. Yeah, they're sitting back in rocking chairs like, what did you do, though?
Yeah, you remember that blizzard of 2024? What did you have to do?
What about you, Nana? Oh, she got the special cup.
Did you got the big ass Stanley Cup?
Who, me?
Yeah,
that was impressive job.
Them boys across the seas. This cost $3.22. I've had it since before the Stanley Cups were popular. So this is not my off-brand. This is a Hydro Peak.
Okay. Go get you a Peak
Hydro.
Yeah.
What about you, now? How'd you feel about the one? I don't want to say good scene, but the one scene where we have Peter and his wife Kayla kind of accepting something that he needs to be his own man and kind of step up and not take orders for Danvers. He's doing it on his own. What do you think about that? Were you satisfied with that last moment between them?
It kind of, but I guess I wasn't satisfied with her character.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
Because, she kind of was kind of wishy-washy, because from my point of view, it looked like, Peter was just handling this case for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And he got mad as hell for that.
Yeah.
He's got a cop sometimes. He's got to do that stuff sometimes. So let him do his thing. But the fact that he was I don't see where he wasn't honest any other time. So it kind of felt weird, the fact that he was actually obfuscating information about what he's doing for, basically the first time to his wife. And that's the time that she's like, kiss me, you fool. I don't know. It was kind of weird.
I mean, something to that, man. Yeah, he's maybe being assertive, being a little bit more, because there was a conversation that he had with Leah a couple weeks ago about her telling her how she fell in love with Peter and wanted that guy back. So maybe there is a side of him that's been missing for a while after he became a cop, and a little bit more distance. Again, we talked about it earlier, or talked about it a couple weeks ago. The 6-episode format, I think, suffers for the supporting characters, because there are definitely scenes missing between Peter and Kayla for me. Because again, every time we saw her, it was just she was always mad and upset. It's but he's doing his job. He's, from what we gather, he's not a bad husband. He's not a bad dad. He's working, But so I felt like there was something missing there. Either she had a dad that was a cop and was terrible to her mom and her. There was something missing there. Yeah. Every time we jumped to this, it was we always jumped to in the middle of a conversation with them. So,
and especially with the fact that he, it's once a month this town just descends into darkness.
Mm-hmm.
Let him do his job for that month, I feel like it's very important for him to be out there.
I thought he was going to do a bad joke. I thought he was going to do a once a month joke, the wife and once a month. I thought he was going to do one of those jokes. I was like, whoa.
I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to go there. I would make a Black History Month joke, but you guys can figure it out.
Yeah. For all the really bad takes, for the distasteful stuff, come on over to Drunk Banthas on Mondays at 8:00 Pacific time.
Definitely. Well, getting back to Elle, I want to talk to you about the big moment, at least one of the big moments, which is, so they have Clark watching a video, kind of Clockwork Orange, hearing the sounds, hearing the screams, getting the confession out of him, and he reveals some of the truths. So the story goes, Elle, that we knew this a couple weeks ago, they were looking for the way of curing cancer and decay and all these different diseases. They apparently found it. But Annie K also found some information on her boyfriend, which is that they were in collaboration with the mines, and they were the ones pushing the mines to pollute the town of Venice to help loosen the frost under the ice so they can find their microorganisms. So first off, before we get to the big reveal, what did you think about that moment, LB, in regards to the mines were still bad, but they were taking orders from the scientists? I thought it was the other way around. The scientists were taking orders from the mines. They were running everything, but no, it was the other way around. What did you think about that kind of reveal before getting into the Annie K of it all?
Yeah, I mean, I was definitely surprised. I knew the mine was involved, obviously, because why would they be there if they weren't? And I definitely was surprised about the scientists being the ones that were in control and kind of at the foundation of all the shenanigans that were going on with the water. These scientists were despicable people. Like, if we gonna get down to the long and the short of it, that was horrible. You know what I mean? Like, let's just kill. It's a smooth 300 people tops we gotta kill to get this for these people. We're not gonna worry. We can't worry about that. And then do the whole thing with Annie K. So I was like, at that point, I was like, I never really even thought about the scientists. Really, you know what I mean? I never really factored them into the equation because they was dead. So I didn't have to think about it. So it was a surprise to me to see them being terrible people before they were frozen.
Which I'm not just to kind of piggyback off that, Elle, and I want to get you guys' thoughts on this as well. Do you feel like we needed more scenes from the scientists, LB? Like, we need more time with them? Not even like experimenting, but just like more time with them to just get a better understanding of like personalities and hints and clues. Like, do we need more scientist scenes? Do you feel like that was a missed opportunity there?
That would have gut punched us more when we got the reveal that it was them. You know what I mean? Yeah. That if we saw in the beginning of the first episode that this guy has, a wife and kids somewhere.
Right. Or they got kids going through the lab, like how to be a scientist. Like they're good people.
And not just like background characters like this guy on the treadmill. Maybe he had a heart attack and now that's why he's running. And
one of my guys he was on a live. He was on Instagram live, showing how people how to make a sandwich. Like what's his deal? What's his deal?
The foundations were there for us to give a shit about these people. I didn't really give a shit about them. What happened to them? I'm trying to figure out what happened to them. I don't care about them though. And if I cared about them a little bit, this, in the beginning, it probably would have pissed me off, which would have been great because when I get mad,
because it's like,
you know what I mean? So I definitely feel like we could have used more. I don't like a 6-episode season
formats. 6
I hate it. I just don't like it. I just feel like
I agree.
You spend millions and millions of dollars to give us, this show, and then you gotta hurry up and cram everything into 6 episodes when the story could be so much more benefited by additional episodes. You know what I mean? And then you're gonna make us wait another 17 years before the next season come out if it comes out again. So I
think based on the numbers of this season, they'll be back. Obviously, probably different story, anthology style, but they'll be back. I think I read somewhere that this season had higher viewership numbers than season 1 of True Detective. So like
that makes sense to me. Because I feel like True Detective season 1 didn't really get popping.
Yeah, it was one of those
like maybe after even season 2, like season 2, it came out already, and then I started hearing people talk about it. I'm like, dog, you behind.
Season 1 was a sleeper. I think if you were really into Sunday night on HBO, then you
knew what it was.
That's a fact.
We all Sunday night people. We sitting down Sunday night because we know we about to get some premium content.
Right. That's what I know.
Here, season 1 was very popular for obvious reasons. It was filmed in Louisiana. And we, oh girl, I saw Matthew McConaughey down at the such and such. So, here it was very popular, but I think it was a real sleeper. But of course, there's always the comparisons between season 1 and season 4, which is why I said you got to tell us if this is not a real True Detective. You know what I'm saying? If you're giving us the semicolon and the colon in the title, so
I agree.
Yeah.
What about you guys, Alex and Bill? Just to kind of pivot off of just your thoughts on the scientist reveal, and do you feel as though we should have gotten more moments, whether it was showing them in a different light, or just following maybe 1 or 2 of them, one and other? How did you guys feel about the scientists?
I personally liked how little we did see of them. I think it was a little more effective for me because like you just kind of put them in the background as like sort of a catalyst of the crime. You don't think that they're going to be like the perpetrators of the crime. Kind of the same way with the workers. You don't expect any of the Native American workers to come back and be like we were joking that they're the criminals and the true detectives.
They the real the show. Yeah. Actually, because I want to say somebody in the chat said it. God Dress Godiva said the ladies in the town were the ones really detecting. Cleaning buildings gives guys access to everything.
Right? Yeah, they didn't have to worry about any police protocol. They were just out there taking pictures and collecting evidence. Had a 6-year investigation.
They running through the whole town getting all the information.
But I really liked like how like they were just kind of in the background. You don't think about them, and when it comes, when the twist comes, it's still satisfying. It all makes sense. But it's them not being like constantly in and out of the story it doesn't make you think that maybe they're a suspect or maybe they have something to do with it. It just is more surprising for me at least.
Yeah, no, apply to the cleaning ladies then. You know what I mean? If that's the case, you know what I mean? Like we didn't, but that's the thing though. Nobody ever pays attention to the cleaning ladies. Right?
Nobody does.
To the the administrative assistant, the the people that answers the phone, So,
that's how black folks learn how to read. That's how black folks learn how to do math, and that's what I'm saying, like for real, because they used to ignore the slaves because they just in there, they don't know nothing. Look at them, he's just in here. Look. Right. You know what I'm saying? Little black facts, black facts. Octagon? Yeah, who taught you Octagon? Sorry, but yeah, the Inuits is just the black people up there. You know what I'm saying? They ain't no black people in Alaska, so so nobody pays them any attention. So they was able to get away with real life murder without even a question as if they did it. You know what I'm saying? Like until
I love that came back up. By the way, I know we're not to skip ahead, but I love that scene.
Yeah, we'll get to that. The music in that scene was so cool. Oh my gosh.
Gangsters.
Yeah.
I was
But what about I guess it's pivoting over. Speaking of murder, we get the moment, Nine. We find out that Annie K, was able to put two and two together about the scientists working with the mines. She destroyed all their research that they've been spending 15, 18 years working on. And Lund didn't want to have it, man. He immediately went to, I'm killing you. And we see, he wakes up in the middle of the night. He tries to pull her off of him. But at this point, shout out to Annie K, man. She's like fight or flight. She's just like, I don't know who you are anymore, Clark. I thought that you was this person. Now you this. So your thoughts, Nan, on the reveal of the scientists were the one that nearly put her to death, but it was actually Clark that did the final, suffocated her. He was the one that actually killed her. What did you think about that whole reveal, man? Were you surprised? Were you disappointed? What did you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, that scene was like, I think very well executed, but it was disgusting. Like it was hard to watch and not intense. Like I really, because y'all are caught. You're gonna just jump straight to murder. Yeah, when she's swinging that thing around too, I was like, please bash one of these guys in that.
Yeah.
Please. And I thought it was just very interesting that because it makes sense that they're all involved in it, and that kind of just justifies the actions that everybody took near the end. But at the same time, why would you just jump straight to murder, right? It just felt sick. It just felt sick and demented, and again, it was well executed, and the fact that I felt viscerally I don't like it is a testament to how well that scene was executed.
Elle Bee, there was rumors for the last several weeks that whatever they were working on that's getting up to the ground in the water is making people hallucinate or tap into some side of their mind, be more primal. Any thoughts on that's why Lund went straight from not trying to stop her to straight murdering her? Do you think there was any influence on what made him just immediately try to go for the kill versus trying to calm her down, try to figure out the situation? Do you think there was more to why he went to straight murder and then all of them gathering 7 men to hold one down, woman down, and then that's thoughts on that, LB, the whole setup.
So when I saw it, I thought that Lund was lying. I mean, not Lund, Clark. Clark was lying.
About the situation.
That, you know what I mean? Because what we heard him say and what we saw on the TV,
two different things,
different things. So because I know that he's not well, and because I know that he does have mental health issues, I took what he was saying and just figured that because it makes no sense, right? For these to be learned men. These are very, very smart men that are doing something that is very, very important, right? All 8 of them are homicidal. I don't know about that.
That's a big jump.
Let's come together and murder this lady.
And murder this woman. Yeah.
we're not gonna like nobody's gonna be like, oh my God, what are y'all doing?
What are y'all doing? Yeah.
Everybody's gonna help murder this lady. So in my mind, Clark said that was the case. I think Clark did it all. I don't think the scientists. I think he stabbed her every time. I don't even know if he suffocated her because they went over Annie K's case 7,000 times and they didn't say anything about suffocation. They didn't say anything about bruises to her mouth. Right, this man was pushing down on her face really, really hard. There were no bruises around her mouth. None of her gums were cut up. Nothing. They didn't say anything like that. So in my mind, Clark did it all. And he just had these scientists in the story as a part of his.
I like that theory, but I just just the opposite side of that. The season has already built up the fact that we'll see the real story in the flashbacks, and what people are saying, is not actually going to be the truth. So Clark is saying that he didn't do anything, right? And he found them doing that. But then we see in the flashback that he definitely did, but he's still putting up that he didn't do it.
Yeah, I do agree that it doesn't really make sense though, because they like she said, there wasn't any mention of suffocation in the police report. They had said something about her looking like she was kicked.
Let's break it all down. She was kicked after she was killed. So that means that either Hank kicked her.
Yeah.
For what reason? I don't know. Well, he's just mad, man, I gotta carry your body. You know what I'm saying? Just kick her. I don't know. That's crazy.
Just so much.
But then
anger.
Like you said, what would make you jump to that? What would make you so angry that you just gotta kill somebody?
Yeah.
Look, I'm gonna set up this scenario for you. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna go to Law and Order. Boom. You know what I'm saying? So you've been working up there for 10 years?
They were stationed there for 18 years. Yeah, 18 years.
18 years, so he said it took them 2 years to build a drill bit that they could dig into the ground.
Start again, yeah.
You've been up there with just dudes.
Yeah.
It's 9 of y'all, 7, 8? Look, man, somebody came in here, tow up all of your stuff. You know what I'm talking about? Everything you've been working on for 18 years. What happened is we wouldn't do nothing like that.
Yeah.
But what happened is he lost his motherfucker. He just was and look, all of these dudes is, I hate to say this, but I can say it because it's Black History Month still. They was all white.
Yeah, it did.
And they also foreigners, you know what I'm saying? They out of a whole element and put into this one element and confined in one space, apparently not even allowed to go nowhere because nobody else knew who these people were unless they had worked at the place cleaning it up.
That's what makes it so disgusting, because they were isolated and then they killed one of the people that they actually see.
Yeah.
They're
no, they didn't see her. Clark was keeping their relationship secret, so none of them.
But
I think they said, she said she went with the hair salon lady to Salah one time, so I would assume she would have maybe.
Yeah, but that was the only people that she said that they would interact with was what's his name that disappeared for some reason. We got to talk about that dude. What's his name? Oliver. So they only used to mess with Oliver and Clark. They kept everything a secret between just them, because the other dudes wouldn't have known, because what would have happened? They'd have been jealous. That's what would have happened. Then they'd have called somebody and then got these dudes put up out of there because they wasn't getting nothing. They up there. It's 18 years of just dudes talking to each other, man. I'm telling you, that's not healthy.
They probably also would have been afraid that something like this would happen, that she would find out.
They talk about how Clark has mental issues, but I think there's nothing. We didn't see anything with the other guys. I think that's why we should have seen other things, because I don't think that they would have been right. 18 years you've been up here by yourself. You don't go home. You don't see your family. I think you would go crazy.
One thing I want to also just because I want to ask you guys to consider they had the poster or the movie of The Thing in the background of a lot of the shots in Law, and that's basically how these guys are living, right? And I wonder if that if you guys feel like that influence of the thing is playing a big part in the story and like how the scientists react.
I think
definitely.
So.
Yeah, I definitely think so, for sure.
Even a lot of the imagery just felt very much the thing. Although I feel like those guys were more emotionally stable. Like, I mean, Kurt Russell was alcoholic, but he wasn't, he wasn't trying to stab nobody with the with the screw.
What Elle Bee was talking about earlier about, we were talking about having more scenes with the scientists. A simple fix in my eyes, just a quick right, is have one of them have a family member. Let it be Lund, because he was the most outside of Clark. He was the only other scientist we knew from face and name. Have Lund have a daughter that has cancer. And his anger, he's been spending 18 years to try to find a cure to save his 8-year-old daughter. And he sees this girl that he's never met destroying all of his work. And he just blacked out and just attacked because all the years of trying to save his daughter was just destroyed in less than 2 minutes. So that could have been a quick one little character beat. We see a picture on his desk. The daughter comes in episode 1 saying, "Bye, Dad. I'll see you in 6 months when we can visit you again." And that kind of explains that sense of primal anger of just kill versus rationalizing and talking. So,
man, I heard the Law and Order music playing the whole time you just said that, man. That was
it gives them a reason to kill, but
that's a great scenario that they should have probably posed, so that we got that.
Or one of them was sick, one of them had terminal, like they should have added just one emotion to make us, like Elle Bee said, have something. Whether we don't have to like them, but like just understand, like, why is this research? Of course, they want to save millions of lives, but we didn't even see that side of them. We only saw this primal evil side, which makes you think these men are trying to cure cancer and save people, but yet the only thing that we saw of them is them killing somebody. So it's just it's one little moment to show humanity.
Sense that yes, you've been there for a long time. Yes, you probably are a little loopy now because you've been up there for so long. But it just doesn't make sense that all of them happen to just be, because, if you think about it, there are people who get their lives ruined after decades of whatever, right? Like, you could work at a job for 20 years and then somebody just come and fire you. You could be married for 40 years and then your spouse cheats on you. Now you got to get a divorce. I mean, sometimes we murder some, folks will take people out the game now. But would it happen to be that, you get this thing that's ruined for you and then everybody just want to murder somebody? It just doesn't ring true to me. It just doesn't seem like how people will move. Yeah, you could be, have cabin fever. People might just want to beat her up or something, or just keep her captive there or something, because we can't let this secret get out. So now she just got to be at the station for the rest of her life until she dies or whatever. But everybody just gonna jump on her and just murder her.
Now that is what got me. I see the one dude tripping out, like stabbing her. I could see that. But why did the other dudes turn into zombies? They just start jumping. They like jumping over the things.
Again, I don't know if they would have maybe explained. And this goes back to the idea of like the spiral having some type of reaction whenever someone's around the spiral, or maybe where they're around the microorganism. It activates some primal nature inside of you. That wasn't. I wish that was something that was maybe explored a little bit more, because that could have explained. They're just, because it was whatever that spiral is, which I think they said a couple episodes ago. It was well bones that they found. So something like that would just to me would explain a little bit of going from 0 to 100 and all of them gaining up on her. But I mean, there's a lot to be said there.
I like your reaction.
Can I say something about the bones? Because to speak to the spiral and everything, because people are mad that they feel like that it doesn't now attach to the first season.
At all.
But I think it does, because in season 1 was very much so on the line of supernatural or practical. But we never get that answered. Like, what's his name? Right. Cole sees the spiral after he's like been stabbed by the crazy man.
Yeah, it's the portal.
So he starts seeing this like portal or whatever it is. We don't know we never get that explained. We don't get a lot of stuff explained in season 1.
Back to the Yellow King either.
Yeah, exactly. We did have, that's one thing that they didn't explain in this one. Why was there little figurines in Clark's cabin, little trailer thing? Why do he have figurines of the Yellow King like there were in season 1? Like there were things that directly connect to season 1, but they just didn't elaborate, talk about it. And the Tuttles are involved in this
Easter eggs more than anything.
Yeah.
It seems like either they were planning to. It feels like they were just planning to have multiple seasons exploring this, or maybe have another anthology season that explores a lot of it. Because, like you said, the Tuttle family, I could see a world where like the Tuttle family became invested in this area because of maybe something old, like some old stories about the spiral. That
they said
to the whale bones,
and they said that they were trying to like cure aging or something like that.
Right?
In the first
season. Exactly. Yeah. So like maybe that's just like on some like super like sci-fi Wayland type shit where it's like I'm looking for the the cure to aging, and they spend all their money to mine these resources, but that wasn't explained. So they were just kind of like planning on having it.
Maybe we're reaching, you know, maybe we're reaching, but
that's not a reach. That was you know, it was very, but I think it was, I felt like that's just so cheap. Like, that's just like you know what I mean? Like, you know that if we're watching season 4, 9 times out of 10, we have seen season 1. We, you know, we're the folks that have kept up with the anthology. So if you give me something that was so important from season 1, you giving me the Carcosa Spiral, you dropping the name Tuttle, you giving me, you know, Russ Cole Daddy is in there, and that's a link to season 1. But then it doesn't pay off because it ain't the same. We don't even have Cardo. It's no code.
Well, they did say,
I mean, like the whole time I'm thinking that there's a connection between this and that. There ain't no connection. It wasn't no connection. It was
they teased that a little bit in season 1 where the black cop and the white cop are interviewing them, or maybe they were FBI. They're interviewing Rust, they were interviewing Hart.
Hart, yeah.
They were interviewing Hart, and they were like, nobody's heard of a Travis Cole as of the last 30 years.
Avengers.
Right, the Avengers are coming to solve
the Avengers team up. Yeah,
I missed the chat.
I think we hit it on a couple weeks ago. Again, the whole idea that this was Issa López wrote this as its own thing. She pitched her story. She sold her story. HBO got their hands on it and said that this would make a good season of True Detective. And then rewrites probably came in and said, you know what, let's add in the Tuttle, let's add in the Spiral, let's add in the Russ, Travis, but it's not foundationally ingrained in this story. It's more, as someone even said, it's just fan service.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, sure, man.
Do you think that all of this confusion has to do with Matthew McConaughey being directly involved as one of the executive producers?
No, because I totally forgot. Him and Matthew McConaughey and Woody Harrelson have been producers for all the other seasons too. So I think that's just an association, you know, EP, you know, they attach to the first season, because even the creator of the first season is attached to all the other seasons. But I don't think they're creatively in the writing rooms or in the, you know, pitch meetings. I think they're just like, hey, send us a check.
Because the only reason I asked is because there was an interview where Jodie Foster talks about how he shows up, and obviously that didn't happen, so I just really don't. Maybe she
spiritually shows up.
Maybe she meant writing, or maybe she meant.
I think she meant the Travis Cole of it all, like Travis Cole, Russ Cole. That was the Russ.
But I could also see Matthew McConaughey just pulling up on set the one day just with flip-flops.
Even in a supportive route, like, hey, keep doing your thing.
What we got over here tonight.
That's just another way to just kind of tap in. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody knows season 1 was like the one, and so it was Matthew McConaughey. You know, we all know he just wrote the check and was like, "Give me my return on my investment," because that's what it is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think I've seen like worse fan service as far as like fan service goes, because it does actually service the plot. Like when you say the word Tuttle, you know, oh, okay, deep pockets, evil.
Yeah,
you know that. So it makes
corrupt government too, like corrupt.
Yeah, they got politicians and all that. Yeah,
you know things. It makes a lot of other things make sense without you having to like have a whole nother like exposition monologue. It's like, well, the Tuttles are da 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 da.
Make you tight. Make you type when you hear that Tuttle word. You be like, "Ooh,
yeah, no serious business."
Hide your kids, hide your wife.
What was that?
Oh, you about to take a shot right now?
Oh,
well, yes.
You ain't tell me that this was that kind of party.
Well,
that's how it's the Drunk Banthas.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, you know, I'm
on
fresh.
brand.
I got all kind of little bottles here and everywhere. You didn't tell me. I'm not playing.
Hey,
it's MovieFiles. It's not that type of show.
Exactly.
That's the late after show.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
I'm just over here sipping on my tequila yak.
It's a semi-promotion for the Drunk Banthas podcast. It's like, this is how we do it.
I wasn't celebrating it. I wasn't, kids, drink responsibly and also don't drink and drive,
There you go. Bringing it back. First off, 166 now. Like, share, continue to drop your comments if you feel obliged to super chat. They're welcome.
Yeah.
But now I want to talk to you about this moment here, and that is when after we get the Annie K reveal, the scientist reveal, the Wheeler, that it was Navarro. We then pivot over to, at this point, Liz is kind of separating herself from Navarro. They're in two different rooms. Liz goes to sleep. She finds her mom's necklace. She wakes up. The temperatures drop. Navarro is all of a sudden outside, and now Clark is dead. They didn't show us the scene between Navarro and Clark. Besides, obviously, she recorded him to get his confession. But I tossed to you, Nine. What the situation with Clark? Did he said to her before we left the room, just end me, get it over with, or let me do it myself? Mm-hmm. Do we think that Navarro got the video and said, by all means, take yourself out? I don't really care for you anyway. Did Navarro, we know she has her blackout states. We saw it in this episode. She blacked out and something got over her and killed Wheeler. But what do you think was, who was the corporate behind Clark's death? Was it him? Was it Navarro? Or was it something else?
It was him. And that goes back to like what exactly is going on in the town of Ennis, where there's just people that feel the need to just go out into the ice, right? And we saw it from like the first scene with the deer running off the cliff, right? And I feel like it was definitely him, just because Navarro's on that same, like, she completely understands him. And it seems that everybody that is involved with these, murders or whatever, like, that's really like basically how everybody meets their fate on the show. It's just
so far,
into that ice and like just being called home. And when it comes to Navarro, like a little bit after this, is that she ends up being reborn. Alex made that joke about the Phoenix Force or whatever, right? And she gets that new name, and that just is kind of like what her creed is, right? Just let the weather decide your fate.
I think you're onto something now. I'll put a pin in that, because I'm in the same wavelength. Like, this is kind of like a form of judgment as far as on the ice. And we find out later when B says, she decides. She'll either take you or she won't. So there's definitely some, we talked about the whole supernatural setting of it all. But Elle Bee, your thoughts on this whole not conspiracy, but mysterious way that Clark went out. Do you feel as though it was him doing putting his own fate in his hand, knowing he lost Annie K? He finally revealed the truth, and now he can just take his own life? Or do you think Navarro helped, or was he influenced by the night country supernatural spirits and ghosts?
So if you look at his face compared to the scientists, the scientists were under duress, right? Something brought them out there. Something made them go. They didn't go of their own volition. My guy right here just was like, like he just took a breath. He looks very calm. He looks very chill. Like he just went out there on his own. So, I don't care. You know what I mean? To be kind. I think if I would have had to choose between like him, being pulled there by an entity, or, his mind or whatever, or his just wanting to go out there on his own, I think he went out there on his own. I think he was just ready to just go ahead and go. And that's the way to do it. Yeah.
So my question to Bill and Alex is to piggyback off of what she just said is, was he even alive when Navarro and Liz came across him? Because I'm just thinking about, I don't know, I'm not an expert with how you end up like turning like a frost giant and 10-minute span versus we know that the scientists were in the snow for 48 hours or whatever. They were missing for days. This is a very quick process to become a frozen icicle. So for you guys up top, Alex and Bill, was he even there?
I think he was there only because we don't know how long Liz was asleep. You gotta remember, Liz
was asleep for 24 hours.
No, I know she wasn't asleep for 24 hours, but we know that you can die way quicker than like an hour or so. And this is a blizzard. So like, we don't know what's taking place, or how long it's been. Well, we don't know what's taking place in this gap of time, and we don't know how long it's been that she was asleep. And I'm assuming that she was asleep for a long time, because if the power just went off, it would take a long time for the natural heat that's built up in the facility to just dissipate. So I'm thinking that they were there for like a good 6-7 hours. You know what I'm saying? Because we don't know what time they got there.
In Chicago, like just a few weeks ago, I stepped outside for like 5 minutes and I almost looked like this dude, bro. I swear to God.
Yeah. Well, in the super freeze too, there was a guy in like Minnesota who went to go to the store to grab some blunts and he froze to death. Like, so it can happen quickly, but now speaking to the amount of snow that he had accumulated around his body, I can only assume it is the blizzard. And
he had open wounds too, right? Like he had gotten beaten, so his face was cut, his head was cut. You know what I mean? And so already bust open going out.
You said something else really dope earlier, Elle Bee, because like dude, he like died, he was calm. Like he was chill, and the veterinarian dude said that that's how people die when they freeze to death. Right. And the other guys, they had
panic, scared.
So that just brings it back to the supernatural again.
Well, I mean, so Alex, to that point that your brother just said, we saw how the scientists looked, and if we're assuming, as B says, Beatrice later in the episode says she swallowed their bones and spit them out. Was Clark judged and was, I don't want to say forgiven, but was he given mercy on his demise versus the scientists were more, brutal and terrifying and like I said, spit out. Oh, he didn't make it far. Yeah.
That's a great. I do like that idea of it. Like if it's more the supernatural side, that he was sort of given more mercy because he wasn't like fully complicit. Like he didn't, I guess, drive the first stab or whatever.
He told that he had his confession tape, so maybe his sins were, I don't say atoned, but he confessed on that tape, and maybe he said what happened. So maybe there was a little bit. Again, if we're playing with the supernatural, like I won't judge you as hard,
right?
Your companion,
and I like that idea of it, and especially since I did have a problem with the contrivance of his change, of everybody's change of motivations, because at first. Navarro is like, all right, I'm gonna kill this guy, and Danvers is like, go ahead and do it, and Clark is like, please don't kill me. Then later, Clark is like, I'm ready to die.
Yeah.
Then and Danvers is like, why did you kill him? And Navarro's like I don't know what happened. It was just very strange how all that everybody's motivations changed immediately just for the contrivance of us to get the answer to the Wheeler's case question.
I was under the impression that she was going to kill him, but then she thought of the idea to get the confession.
Yeah.
Well, and that's what makes him feel more like wanting to die.
I think she gave up the idea of killing him when she told him to shut up. Like she shot in there, and you still hear him scream, and then she tells him to shut the fuck up, and then she walks out, and then they talk about the Wheeler case. Liz and her talk about the Wheeler case. Then we just jump to him being like, just kill me. Or if you don't do it, then let me do it myself.
Right.
And then I think that's what she did. I think she let him walk out on his own volition.
Because he wasn't tied up when he gave the confession, right? He was untied.
No, he was untied when he gave the confession. It looked like he went up to the bathroom, came back.
Oh yeah, he definitely.
Like, you might have
he was real relaxed.
Yeah, he had his
chill.
clothes. He had his face, his hair combed. They wiped all the blood off his face.
Yeah.
Obviously,
Well, I mean, it's smart because if you see a tape like that, then it's like, well, he's lying because he got beat up to say this versus like, you know, obviously
like
he was in the right
like
state.
a hostage. Nine look like a hostage.
I love how Navarro in these situations got a plan. She's got a plan.
Oh yeah, she's Action Jackson. Yeah, she's ready for it. Yeah,
ready. So she obviously knew, like, okay, let me hurry up and get this confession. Go get the sweat out the back. Go wipe your face, go comb your hair, come back. You got 5 minutes. You don't, you know what I mean? And then even when she walked into the house and saw 2 dead people in that lady doorway,
she knew what the plan was. Yeah.
Was like, okay, we gonna do this, we gonna do that, we gonna. That's why I knew she. That's why I knew for sure
she killed Willer. Yeah, because she was the one that she flipped the photos, because obviously Liz didn't know about that. She didn't know he was left-handed, so that was all Navarro's thought process of how to cover everything. So, but getting back,
I just wish we'd have seen that though. To y'all's point about things that are missing, I wish we'd have seen that. Like, like we saw Russ and Hart's like. They're like they messed up. They killed somebody on the job and covered it up.
Yeah,
we got to see all of that though. We didn't get to see we got a.
It would have been good, like
snapshot
episode, a little bit of.
Well, they mentioned, I mean, it's a lot of say don't tell or say don't see. Where they said they went there 10 times. So like they obviously went there to cover it up, make sure that they clean. They everything, forensics, the ballistics, bullets, all that stuff. So they did the legwork. We just, like you just said, but we didn't see it. Which
we didn't see it
again. I'm that the meat of the story is that they have their sins. They've had their secrets. They're not perfect police people. But getting back into, I guess this is where we dive into the supernatural, maybe even the cosmic. Elle Bee, we after the situation with Clark, we go back inside, and now the temperature's down, and we got literally ghosts popping up. I don't know if you guys caught this, but let me pull it up here. When Navarro was pulling up the generator, I don't know who this is. I don't know if that's Annie K, if that's her sister, or if that's just a lost soul in general.
It's Sedna.
I think it was creepy. I think it was creepy.
It was, classic horror trope: lights off, lights on, and it disappears. But it'll be tossing to you. In my mind, I feel like they went deeper and deeper to Night Country philosophically in their minds. They went deeper into their demons and their past and their trauma. Because after this, I can't even explain this scene. But when she sees Clark in the kitchen. Like, did Clark see her? Time is in a circle. Are they stuck in this time loop? Like, what was your understanding of that scene, but also just your thoughts of them going deeper and deeper to the madness, but also confronting their demons?
Yeah, I don't. So with this scene that's on the screen now, I think that is her mom.
We kept
the reason I think that is because the only time we see her mom, she's in like a night dress and she's sweating and she's like got her arms out. But when we see Annie K is bundled up. Annie K said, baby, I don't care if I'm a ghost or not. It's cold outside. I'm gonna put my hoodie on and I'm gonna go outside and I'm gonna haunt you like that, but I'm gonna be prepared. I think that's her mom. But I don't know what purpose it served other than so I do think that Navarro has mental health issues. And I do think that she is connected with her ancestors. I do think she's connected with nature. She's connected with her people, even though her people don't really get down with her. And she doesn't really get down with them, right? But she's still connected either way. And I think because she does struggle with those things and has those connections, that when we see things, she don't know what it is either. Like, we all confused. Like, Navarro doesn't know. We don't know what purpose it is, because sometimes that's how it works. You know what I mean? Like, in my experience with the supernatural, you'll experience things or see things and you'll be like, who the hell is that? Or what is going on? So it doesn't always happen to where, like, it's like you see your grandma sitting in a rocking chair and you be like, grandma, you know what I mean? It doesn't always work. But I think that the scene with Clark kind of leans into that too, because I didn't know what that was. I still don't know what that is.
I'm still trying to figure. Yeah, like I said, in my mind, I'm like, is he, when he said that night she's alive, on the way he reacted, like he was clearly like staring at something. So now, was he looking at Navarro?
Right.
Or in my mind also said, is this, like, going back to the whole punishment judgment thing, is this his punishment that he has to relive this night over and over and over again, and he's just like, this is replaying, and she's witnessing what he's. Right. This is his hell, essentially. So I don't know. There's so many ways to interpret.
I don't know. I think it made so because when I didn't I thought that because I watched it on my laptop. And I thought I hit a button or something. And I was like, did I go back?
Yeah.
Ain't done started over already.
Yeah, all of episode 1. It
was Navarro, where I knew it wasn't real because wherever Navarro was, it wasn't a whole goddamn kitchen right here. You know what I mean? It made no sense for me to be seeing what I was seeing. And so, so that whole piece, it kind of again leans into the fact that when you experience these things, they don't always make sense, and it doesn't always connect to anything. But in my experience, you have to lean into it. You have to just kind of figure out what's going on in whatever way you can. But I think, and then a lot of times when you deal with supernatural things and when you deal with mental health issues, which Navarro has both, there's no resolution. Right. And maybe that's just a part of what is going on with this mystery. Like a lot of questions I don't know. We're not going to get the answer.
I think that
I'm still confused. Maybe I'm going to read an article or something and it's going to explain it to me. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I agree. I'm sorry. I got caught up reading these.
No, I'm just pulling up because just trying to see if anyone else had a thought on that whole time looping scene. I mean, Bill, go ahead, take it, man. What do you think about this?
Yeah. Maybe he was saying that. I'm sorry.
No, yeah, I was just like you. I was like, yo, where in the hell is this coming from? Like, but then when they went back to the cut of Navarro after he was, I was like, oh, this is her seeing what happened. Now, how is she seeing what happened? I think she has this type of clairvoyance that they established when she walked out into the snow and she touched, which I believe is Sedna's hand, not her mother's hand, because it has the tattoos on it. Her mother don't have no tattoos in the shot that we get of her. I think that this is Sedna, her reaching out to her, and the spiritual mother gave her name so that she knew what her, connect. So she had her connectivity, so she could be complete. Right. You know what I mean? And so yeah, I just feel like she was able to see how he connected to Sedna as well, because he was saying she's awake, we woke her up. And then the older lady who the elder lady who actually they committed the murders of the scientists, she said that they woke her. You know what I mean?
It was really interestingly shot too, the way that just the color, the way he was lit or whatever was changed from when he was clearly looking possessed to when he went back to, I guess, to Salal and said she's awake. It's interesting the way that was shot. I feel like they were trying to convey something. I have to watch it again, I guess, to see exactly what's going on.
I felt like possession was being conveyed, or maybe it was like butterfly effect where there's vibration that happens. Sort of maybe
timey-wimey, wibbly-wobbly.
Maybe his seizure was her seeing him because time is on a circle, right? Time. So maybe that was maybe that's what it was. Her seeing a butterfly.
Let me chime in here real quick because what I was interpreting from just I kind of feel like I figured a little bit of something out here because it's day 15 or whatever of the night, the darkness, the long night, and her Navarro's name is the what's it mean again? It's
sun after the darkness.
Sun after the darkness. So after that, it's 30 days a night, but that's at the peak of the darkness, right? 15 is when she gets her name. And everything after that is when everything starts to get better. So I feel like in this whole timey-wimey, wibbly-wobbly mess that Clark at the beginning was actually seeing Navarro being awakened at that time. And so they're when he's saying she's awake, he's actually referring to Navarro.
Okay.
And all of that going on.
Interesting.
I know it's might not make too much sense.
No, it does. Because I think when they tie Clark up, I don't know if he was talking to Liz or Navarro, but the first thing he said, "I'm not talking to you." So I don't know if again, if this was, he recognized who she was, whatever the case may be. And again, explains he hit her over the head with the fire extinguisher. He was dragging her, so maybe he was just like, "This is the same girl I saw. I don't know. Something there, definitely something there."
Yeah.
But I'd also like to ask y'all about, because I know you just put up that comment and somebody mentioned Sedna. Stop saying Sedna or whatever.
Yeah, I thought I got a kick out of that. Yeah.
Sedna.
Of her. That there was no mention of her in the season, but of course, we all gotta do our Googles and we gotta talk and what have you. And her name was brought up a lot, but I think if it would make sense that the hand that was touching Navarro's hand and the hand that gave her name would be Sedna, right? It would be somebody who would have the authority to give that to her, right? Because you can't just walk up on somebody and be like, "This is your native name, this is your indigenous name," right? You have that authority. And so who would have that authority over her but some maternal figure? So it would make sense that it was somebody else that's not her mom, which plays into the Sedna thing. But what I don't like is that if that is the case, that you don't give the viewer that information. Like, you don't go out and flat out say that this is Sedna.
I'm okay with it because I did the legwork to look, and we even pulled it up on the last 2 weeks ago. We looked it up, and and just a little other side note for those that don't think Sedna is involved. I don't know if you guys listen to the podcast of the show. In one of the episodes, episode 4, I think it was, I actually have it in my breakdown, they specifically say Sedna's name, like in their podcast, and the creators allude to the stories and the mythology and how it ties into this story. So for those that don't think Sedna, inadvertently, they never say her name, but there's enough subtext in mythology and circumstances that we see within this show that points to that being, if there is a supernatural thing involved. As you guys mentioned, she's awake, you woke her, you killed her daughter in their caves, she was here way before the caves were here. Sedna is the undertone of if there is something to believe in, which these people of this particular indigenous community believe in, is Sedna and all the stuff that comes with that. So anyway,
but the thing is, though, I watched this show with my dad. My dad is 75. My dad is not going on Google, and he's not podcast. My dad is.
I hear you.
From Deadline, it talks about Sedna and the indigenous links.
Doing all it's
I'm a regular viewer that gotta go to work, because most people, just think about it. Everybody in this chat and everybody on this show, we about that movie action. We about we are really we really live this shit. But most people are not. Most people sleep. Okay. And they're not going to do the Googles and the legwork afterwards, right? So if you're the average viewer, you got right over your head. You have to at least imply. You gotta have a Sedna poster in the back. You gotta have somebody.
There were some. There are
signs. You have to tell me that, right? If I don't know anything about indigenous culture, if I don't know anything about who gives who a name and what the importance is and all of that jazz like that, I'm never gonna get that. And that's a missed opportunity, because the whole season was not based off of, but the whole season heavily featured indigenous culture and indigenous women and their connection to each other. And that's a missed opportunity for you not to educate folks on what that actually looks like and who Sedna actually is, because it's an important character. It's an important deity in that.
I honestly thought that that's where it was as they delved more into what Night Country is. It would sort of be more focusing on that, and maybe someone says the name just one time. So because again,
Sedna.
Google is doing
Sedna name.
Sedna. Because Google's doing a lot of help for this show for people like us so we can understand certain things. But if they had just said that one name and just help it plant a seed in viewers' minds, so and have that sort of connect with all the supernatural things that are going on, it would have been a little bit more satisfying.
I just feel
covered the mythology of Sedna, right?
Yeah, we were actually on here on the 4th episode.
So do you guys feel that the bones in the ice was also kind of a callback to the mythology of Sedna?
No, I think it's a callback to the mythology of the Yellow King, because the bones in the ice were also in the shape of a spiral, as I noticed this episode. So, I mean, there's a lot of things that really keep it like bogged down in the supernatural. Like, Sedna, like you said, definitely is a big part of the like, this is definitely, there's no question, because they talked about it on the podcast.
Yeah.
But Sedna also, like, she has her fingers removed because her, like, on both hands, because her father asks her to marry someone, and she's like, no, I'm not gonna do that. He cuts her fingers off, and that's what creates like the fish, and then he asks her to get married again, and she says no, and he cuts her fingers off, and then she runs off and she marries a wolf. Well, the dude that Navarro is dating.
My teenage years were crazy too. I'm just saying.
Yeah, it was crazy. My teenage years was wild.
We all go through a phase.
But Navarro,
cut our fingers off.
The dude that Navarro is dating, he takes care of like a bunch of dogs, like wolves or whatever. Like, he is that character for her, you know. And I think so. I think that Navarro is meant to represent Sedna, and I don't think that they mentioned any deities' names, because there's a lot of Vite people who watch this as well. You know, there's a lot of people like your father, Elle Bee, who are of all different races, and they don't know nothing about that. So they try to keep it like without it being like a bunch of deity stuff, so that everybody can just kind of get the true story that we're trying to convey here, which is the murder mystery. Like,
because I mean, even season 1 could have dove deeper into the Yellow King and the whole cult like that. So I think, to me, into all you guys' point, I think that there's the baseline of what we were kind of getting at with the story, but then, as Elle Bee was kind of saying, if you're really about the life, you're going to probably dig deeper. And that's the beauty of like sci-fi and horror. It's just like there's other layers to explore if you wanted to explore that. But I think, like you kind of alluded to, Bill,
that's the beauty of this.
If we start saying Cinda, we start saying, you know, the underworld, it might go over people's head. It might go way too deep into the end of like, because I already know some people didn't even like the supernatural in the show. So it's not for everyone when it comes to like what we're going to put in the show, because it could just turn people off if we're going to that route. And then if they start saying names, and it's like, it's almost a show taking away the option of you speculating if Sedna, supernatural, what's real, what's not. So if you definitively say this is the answer, it takes away the whole idea and the funness of just theorizing, coming up with your own thing and all that stuff. So,
and where I was going with that Sedna thing is that, because Bill said like her fingers are cut off, but her fingers are cut off, and then when they're thrown in the ocean, that's how like they create the marine life. So I'm kind of like just getting that parallel between like, oh, these bones are also kind of like attributed to this microorganism that they're trying to find in Salal, that's also connected to Sedna's, you know, original origin, right? There's something out there in the ice that's older than, you know, time itself, or older than the
some things aren't meant to be tampered with. Some things aren't meant to be revealed or used for, you know, whether it is good or bad. They're not the ones to make that call to tap into, you know, that side of it. But I mean, we can have a whole nother podcast discussion about the supernatural of it all. But moving on to just, I guess, back to our characters and getting back to the groundedness of the story. Elle Bee, we get 2 moments from our characters that are kind of the, I think someone mentioned earlier, the reincarnation, being reborn of a sense, and having that light into the darkness or coming out of the darkness. We first have Navarro, and we keep going back to the desert, which is, again, another thing that could have been elaborated on more, but there's enough subtext to understand. She was a Marine, PTSD, she lost her friend. This is a place that means something to her and that she's a life-changing event, but she goes back there. She sees the hand, Sedna, ancestor, you know, someone important enough to give her a name. We understand this important thing, but my question for you, Elle Bee, is: did you feel that moment for Navarro? Did you feel it in your bones that like this is a great character moment for her to finally identify with her community having that name, because if you think about episode 1, B says, who's your Uknuk? Who's your ancestor? She doesn't have it. Oliver says, who's your name? Where do you come from? She doesn't respond. Even there was something else, when Annie K, when she went to arrest her, everyone in the room was like, get out of here. You're not one of us. But now she has that, she can embrace that side. So I'm just thinking from you, LB, that character arc, did you feel it was earned? Did it stick the landing for you for her to finally get her name to push through?
I love that. That was actually my favorite scene in the entire episode. Yeah, because you can tell just think about it for African Americans, right? Like you know what I mean? We are all connected to this continent, right? How are we connected? Where do we come from? 99% of us have no clue, right?
No clue.
And we definitely feel a connection between us and the continent, and the things we do here come from there, we didn't know, and all the things. And I could just imagine having lived in that small town and seeing these indigenous people all the time, and knowing that you are, but you also are not a part of that community, and I having access. And she finally gets it, and she finally hears her name, and now she can know what was thought, like what her ancestors, her mama thought of her when they saw her. You get the indigenous name based upon X, Y, and Z, right? So that kind of helps her to know who she is, right? Because she's been out here just kind of skating without a stick. She doesn't know.
Yeah, she doesn't. Yeah, it's a identity crisis. Yeah,
that connection that she always wanted and she missed, right? But I thought it was a really great scene. I didn't get the connection, and maybe somebody can help me to understand her being in the Afghanistan or wherever she was to have that happen, because I don't know, because I would have thought that it would have maybe been somewhere that she had a good memory, right? We haven't seen any memories of Navarro where she was like smiling or happy, or her friend had half her face blown off, so that's where she gonna go to get her name. You know what I mean? Like, why? But again, sometimes things don't make sense. But I didn't know why that she went to that place to have that happen.
The only narrative connection to this space that's somewhat elaborated on is, I believe it was episode 1. She's talking to Annie K's brother, Ryan, and he asks her, do you believe in God? She says, yeah, I do. And he says, oh, like, give me an example. And she says, well, back when I served in the Marine, and we cut to that scene, and then we see her friend with a half face, and she says, listen. So what, again, to your point, LB, it would have been nice to maybe get a little bit more of an explanation of what exactly happened. But to me, when she responds to, do you believe in God? And that's her direct answer, something happened there where it was a supernatural belief, life-changing event that always stuck with her. Because I mean, if someone talked to me with their face half gone, that's probably going to stick with me as well.
So also, I think that it was just, I think that the fact that you even insinuate that it's in Afghanistan, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not sure that they even say that, right? But like, you can look at it and you go, well, history tells me where this is, right? I think that they just left that to be just understood. Like, we know Americans went through
desert environment,
with Desert Storm, and anything you can think of in the last 30 years. Like we kind of don't have to really harp on that. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that, but I would have liked to
get a little bit
some
more
kind of something, you know what I'm saying? Like, we just see this white lady with a hole in her head. Like, we need some, like, she deserves an explanation, right?
Only kickback on that, as far as like elaborating on it more, is the same can be said about Liz. Like, we put the pieces together that Jake Holden car accident, but we didn't see, was it a drunken driver? Was Jake even in the car? Like, we just assumed that that's what happened, but we didn't get the A, B, and C of what happened.
Liz's husband, because we don't give a shit.
She didn't even mention him. I'm telling you, that lady. And correct me if I'm wrong, Leah, that's her dad, but that's also Jake is her, or Holden's her brother. But I don't know if he was born for her. They never
for so long. Strange that it doesn't take much to add that in. You know what I mean?
It doesn't. Yeah, you're right.
I said this in my review, and I think the actor did an okay job. I just don't think she was written well, and that's Leah. Like, give Leah a moment between her and Liz. Like, I lost them too, Liz. Like, I lost my dad. I lost my brother. That's why I'm rebellion. That's why I'm looking for another family, because you're you're not the only one that lost something. So there's, again, I feel like the supporting characters were missing moments to really put them over the top when we see them.
Not only am I losing my dad, I'm losing my culture.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I go both ways on it, because like on the one hand I would appreciate a little bit more light on that stuff, but I also hate like dialogue that's like over patronizing, where like people are saying things that they both know to each other. It's like it's like, I'm sure that they've had that argument a bunch of times before we get to this point.
Alex, you was the one who stole my car in the first place, and you went out without my permission, and you driving drunk and had that car accident that killed that little boy.
It's like, I'm glad that they didn't like rehab. Like, I do hate it when that kind of stuff happens in movies. Yeah. But on the other hand, I would have liked a little bit more light shed. So I don't know. I don't know if I appreciate doing a little bit more work.
I feel like you don't have to be like on the Thursday when they got into the car.
Right.
You don't have
to
be super specific about what happened, but you can give me something. God damn, what they in the neighborhood was. It a drunk driver? Was somebody speeding? Was the man drunk? Was he a bad person? And
I assume it was a drunk driver based on her reaction to Stacy, the town drunk in episode 1, when she was like so pissed, like she wasn't even a police. She like grabbed her out and like, shut the hell up. So I assume it was a drunken driving situation. But again,
if it is, then she's trash because she was drunk driving.
She was drinking, which to me, that's another character beat. That should have been a big moment. That should have been a big moment for her. Like, she's finally drinking. That means that she's at the bottom of the pit. So that's another character beat that could have been explored.
But that's everything y'all are saying. It keeps harping like on my mind. Like, there has to be a lost episode, or was cut down, or it was cut down to make it fit the budget. Because this had to be a budget nightmare. Like, trying to get this job, they did it in the snow. You can tell they really went up there and they did it. Yeah. So
it's hard to do that.
It's extremely hard because equipment freezes. Equipment, like, you know what I mean? Like, it will not work at certain temperatures. And I just wonder if it got cut down, because like y'all are saying, everything that y'all are saying is absolutely pertinent when it comes to like most shows even being good. Like, most shows would not survive these things. I just told you how good this show was, that we even like this to the degree that we do, even though it's missing all of these
two more episodes. Two more episodes.
Yeah.
Two more episodes. Two more.
Yeah.
Make it
Speaking of just kind of superstars, because it's a great discussion. Again, 174 y'all watching live. Thumbs up, share, comment. But shout out to Struggle TV Reviews. Tyra, what's going on? Hope you're doing well. I know Struggle is one of our horror fans as well. So I don't know if she watched. I'm gonna have to hit her up and see if she was if she got a chance to watch this or not. But neither way, thank you, Tyra, for the super chat.
Struggle reviews so much. Go and watch the Atlanta review that me and Struggle did together. It's a treat. And
what a time.
Go and watch that.
Miss Atlanta. I miss those Atlanta days. But so we talked about Navarro and her coming, and literally, I guess another thing, just like she literally pushed through because her ears were bleeding. Every time she did that, she stopped. She literally pushed herself through that moment. So again, like Elle Bee said, great character moment. But tossing to you, Nine, switching over to Liz, she gets her moment. She, she's in the ice, she falls, she sees Holden, she's in the water. Like, literally, I think both these characters philosophically, metaphorically died. Their old selves died and they came out reborn. So she's in the water, comes out. We get the flashbacks of Holden, his birthday. We see the car accident. She's there. She's like Navarro. She's kind of walking past. Well, I don't say walking past, but she's at the accident. She's walking. She's continuing to move and not stay still and, ignore those feelings. So now your thoughts on her big moment of coming to realization that I can't be living with I can't continue to live with burying myself with the dead and not moving forward. And
wait, so you're talking about like Danvers, right?
Liz and her moment.
I would say that like Liz, I feel like that first part should have came like an episode beforehand, right? Where she asks Navarro, or Navarro has this kind of like, clairvoyance moment where she wants to tell Liz about what her what her child wants to say to her, right? That I feel like that should have came an episode prior, and then after this moment, she like comes to and she's like, I want to know now. I feel like because it was so squished together, it wouldn't. It kind of lessened the impact, but I still like that moment. But I'm still like very, because I really love the part where like the hubcap to the Toyota Camry, like I really love that. I was like, oh my gosh, we're about to get something pretty big here. And then also like the necklace being stuck in her hair.
Well, yeah,
I was like, this is.
Well, that was Navarro's mom's necklace, wasn't it?
Right.
Yeah.
So like well, I guess this all speaks to some pretty crazy things, because when Otis was saying like they're in the night country now, right?
Yeah.
And like we didn't realize that the night country was also just like right under Salal Station too.
Yeah.
I feel like Otis should have mentioned that as well.
Otis got some other things on his mind. And
Otis is trying to get that dog food. That's what Otis is trying to get.
He's trying to get that raw pack.
But I will say to your point now, and I think what you're getting at as far as the necklace, the orange, the rim of the tire, these are, to me, these are mementos from the dead trying to speak to them. Like, you need to listen, and we need to literally put it in your face for you to actually pay attention to it. You literally have to come to the verge of death to listen to the dead that's been trying to speak to them throughout this entire series. And this moment for, tossing to you guys, Alex and Bill, you guys' thoughts on Navarro, Liz this whole season, Navarro, hoobly boobly, ghosts, spirits, that stuff is not real, to her literally coming to, like I said, death to finally hear her son say, Mom, move on.
Yeah.
I really like that now.
I really liked all this. I was, expecting there to be like some sort of explanation of, the poison from the mine is making people hallucinate.
It is,
but we don't get any such explanation. So I'm led to assume that this is just like some spooky Alaska shit. And I really liked it. I really liked how she was a skeptic the whole show, and then she eventually makes sort of a turn at the end, at her own peril. Like, she tries to save her kid, which ends up making her fall into the ice or into the water, and she has this sort of hallucination and epiphany. So I really dug all.
What?
Callie is amazing. I love Callie.
Callie is amazing. Great job for her to have only done like a few
small independent stuff.
Independent stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But fantastic. As far as Liz goes,
hearing more stuff. Yeah,
I will say that Liz. Last time we were on here, I was like, this is the softening of Liz. Like, the last 3 episodes have been the softening of Liz, like getting us ready, like to feel more empathetic for her. Because at first we was like, this white lady racist. I know they did not make Jodie Foster racist. This is ridiculous. But now she wanted to be. She wanted, because she just got to shake it because her kid was brown and now he dead. So now, what I'm saying, like she's trying to, what is it called? A dissociative something. She's trying to take those things that actually are causing her anxiety and depression and push them as far away from her as possible, right? Mm-hmm. So I liked how she got softened, and even in her softening, she hardened back up, because when
Navarro's sister,
when Navarro mentions her son.
Oh, you mean this?
Harden was his name. His name was Holden. Yeah, when she mentions him, she gets like vicious. She's like, basically tells her, "Look, I'll kill you in here and leave your butt up here, and you have to figure it out with Clark. You and Clark can figure that thing out by yourself." You know what I'm saying? She basically told her, like, don't talk. But then she fell in the water looking for Navarro.
Right there.
She wanted to go back and apologize to Navarro, and then Navarro's out in the snow walking, and she goes out there looking for it. Like, I think
you thought character she was coming back to apologize, because I assumed she was coming back. It's like, damn, it's too cold to not be near the fire. Let me go back up.
I think she was going back to apologize, because I feel like it leads us to believe at the beginning of this series that this lady is just a tough, hard ass. She don't care about nobody, blah blah blah. But as we go through the show, we see that she actually does care, but she's just damaged. Hurt people, right? Yeah. Like, she is damaged, but she is real police. She wants to, like, her job in her mind is to take care of people, like to protect people.
Think about the time when she helped Jules in the middle of the street, or when that little kid, when her mom was being interrogated, she, like, you know, comforted that little girl. Like, she, like you said, Bill, yeah, I totally agree. She plays tough, but she has a, you know, a heart of gold, but she has to have that tough interior because, you know, she's suffering from trauma. She's scared to, as later in the episode where Navarro says she's been closed off in the hatch. I think both of these characters have been closed off since losing, you know, Navarro losing her mom and now her sister, and obviously Holden and Jake. So I totally agree with you, Bill, that they're both hurt people that just didn't know how to express their feelings or let it out.
And also, you cannot be a woman and be a police officer and not be, you have to have that, because in a lot of instances, there are officers who, and I'm speaking from the semi outside. I was married to law enforcement for a decade, so I kind of I ain't no moto, okay? I made it out, right? You have to, if you're a woman in that position, it doesn't matter where you are, but especially in a rural Alaskan town, you have to put up a guard. You can't walk around and smile at people, because the minute you do, you can't do your job. You are ill-equipped as a woman. You cannot walk around and give people grace and assume the best out of people, because if you do, then you're not doing your job. A man can do it, but a woman cannot. And I think that's a lot of what I'm seeing in the comments about the show. It's a lot of male toxicity, right? It's a lot of male, you know, people in the chat, you know, real. I won in the chat today. Okay, I see. But
a lot of people are good.
You know, you have to definitely take that into consideration when you think about it. Because I didn't like Liz's character. I thought she was a bitch from the first time.
Yeah, which is purposeful. Jodie Foster has spoken to that. Like, she wanted to be that. She wanted to. Yeah.
But I think, you know, when you look at it with that light on it, you got to be that way, because I've heard of situations where a woman officer was not, they didn't have her 6 when it was time to
let her guard down. Yeah,
you know, I mean, whatever, you know. So it's a lot of that when it comes to this show this season.
And I almost wish that they would have, like, you know, that maybe speaks to where I wanted to be at least like 8 episodes, right? Because they could tackle that. There's a lot of things that they could tackle or mix into the season where they're talking about, like, 2, you know, we have our first 2 female true detectives. And you know, that could have been used for a point of, like, just, you know, reflection about, like, you know, what women go through for in these jobs
positions.
But at the same time, like, you know, like, a lot of people are already just hating from they hear the premise. 2 female true detectives, oh no, this is woke.
Well, see, I think that's why. I think they avoided that.
I would say I was going to bring that up. I actually preferred that they, I don't want to say preferred that they didn't add that in, but I like that it's just, they're cops, they're just police officers, and it just is what it is. And Liz has been a police officer for however many years to be the sheriff of town, and Navarro, you know, so I like that we didn't have to, like, explore that, because it's a trope essentially in my eyes, as far as, like, when you see women in certain positions exploring that.
But like, you know, True Detective is a trope within itself, right? Like, we tackle in season 1, we tackle you know, toxic masculinity in season 1. Tackle also feminine issues in this season too, if you're you know,
well, we tackle toxic masculinity only because it's the 90s. You got to remember, it's not that it's less focus on the toxic masculinity, it's just this is the time period in which this is just what you did. Like, this is how people were, this is how men were at that time.
And I do think,
but they also didn't, I'm just saying, like, this season, they treated the detectives like they treated the detectives in season 1 and season 3. Like, we're dealing with damaged people. We're dealing with damaged people. You have your preconceived notions of how you view these people at the beginning of the series. You think, or the season, you think, man, this person's good, or this person's bad, or this person's damaged, or this person, whatever. And then by the time we get to the end of that season, we are seeing that they're an onion. We see that the layers between these people, we see the damage that they've possibly dealt with, but we didn't get any explanations as to how any of these people really operate, or why they've been so damaged. We don't get those explanations necessarily, but it's all implied. It's all insinuated. I guess maybe in season 3 we got a little bit more.
I would say season 3 we got very much to the root of
in season 3 we always more of that.
Mm-hmm. And I think the idea of that, just what two female cops would have to deal with. I would love to see a whole movie about that. Get Nia DaCosta to direct. I would love to watch a whole story about that. But I feel like that would have this story already has a lot of moving parts. So I'm glad that they tackled as much as they did, but doing too much would I feel like would detract from the story a little bit.
Well. Speaking of, we talked, and I can't remember who brought it up, but yes, there was one of my favorite. I know Elle Bee, you say your favorite scene was Navarro coming to get her name. I love that scene as well, but also I love the scene where Jodie Foster was like, "Don't you dare say my son's name," and how she just kind of turned that switch on. But to bring it back home to just them finally, Navarro gets her name. And then what does Liz get? She gets to hear from her son. Tossing it to you first, Elle Bee. She's coming out of the waters. She's freezing. She's cold. Navarro helps her back up, and she says to her, "What did he say? What did who say? What did Holden say?" And she tells her, "He said that I see you," and she covers her eye, which is a reference to going back to all those dream sequences when she was hanging out with Holden. That was something they said to each other, which goes back to if you doubt any supernatural things about it, how else would Navarro have known that little connection she had with her son? Right. But I don't know about you, Elle Bee, but it was some onions being cut up. That was a good emotional moment for me to see. To say that, because again, it's a great callback to what she said to her son, covering her eye, and for Navarro to deliver that message, the person that we assumed that they hated each other, they didn't want to work with each other again. This is our last case together, but they do bond. They do it. They shared an experience of covering a murder. Yeah, they love each other. But what did you think about Liz's?
I thought that scene was really well written and well acted, and I got to give a shout out to Callie Reis Kaylee. I think it's Kaylee Reis.
It's Kaylee. Yes, Kaylee. Yeah.
To Kaylee Reis, because she held her own with motherfucking Jodie Foster.
Yep.
And I love what the part that I loved the most was the covering of the eye. Yeah. That's what sent it over the top for me, because every goal is gonna be like, "I see you." You know what I'm saying?
It's layers to it. It's multi. Yeah. It means it's a double meaning.
Covering of the eye. That's what sent it over the top for me. That's what, and then we also get to see Navarro being vulnerable with somebody other than her sister, because we saw Navarro her too, because she was so sweet with her sister. It's okay, baby girl, you're perfect. It's okay, don't apologize. Encouraging her, holding her, giving her contact and whatever. But we haven't seen that with anybody other than her sister. So for us to see that with Danvers, who we know is hugging a damn barbed wire, right?
Yeah, polar bear.
That with her was really, really powerful, and covering the eye just sent it over the top. It was a really great scene.
Toss it to you. Oh yeah, it got me. What did you think about it, man? Because to piggyback for Elle Bee said, I love the multiple meanings of "I see you." She now acknowledging the supernatural. I see you, as Elle Bee said, the ghost has been trying to talk to her. But there's so many different things. What did you think about Liz getting her kind of moment of?
And I actually, because I just been putting comments on. So goddess Godiva said, "So what did Navarro mean when she said Holden sees Danvers? I hope he don't see his mom sleeping around." I
see you with Captain Conley.
I see you.
Maybe that's why she told him, "Yo, tell my mama I see her, bro. I don't see her."
But no, no, this is literally, I think if there was a lot more of these moments, and Kaylee Reis, amazing, especially in the scene when she got beat up, and went to Kavik and broke down there. She is phenomenal. She is a phenomenal actress. That whole scene was just yes, please give me more of that. And again, I said it earlier, like a lot of the show is about letting go and what you can gain from moving forward. Right. And when it's tied into the mechanisms of like, Navarro's awakening and getting her name, and like, we're at the peak of the nightness, and now it's going to be, a bit getting closer to the daytime, right? Yeah. Everything after this is going to be better. And I love that. I think that is like, I think that they, when they're saying that this was supposed to be just Night Country, I think that is kind of the core of what the original script was going to be about. And they nailed it with this scene.
Bill and Alex, man, did the two brothers, did y'all hold each other and cry and comfort each other during this scene? What was y'all at? How'd you feel about it?
Yeah, it was definitely an emotional scene. I really liked I'll say first, Jodie Foster. I liked how she had to perform like bawling, but she was also like exhausted from hypothermia, so she couldn't really like emote. Like I thought that was like really, really good, but also like kind of hilarious. But I to y'all's point, yeah, Callie Reis, like she was so great. Like I thought that she has been spectacular this whole season, but the last half of this episode, she really got to stretch her acting muscles a lot. So I really liked her performance. And yeah, to y'all's point, this is like a nice culmination of both of their arc of their relationship together. Like you get to see them really get to know each other and sort of that in that buddy cop way where they hate each other at first, but then they like each other at the end. But it's way more emotionally riveting because of all the trauma that's associated with both of their backstories. So I really
shit. Oh my god.
Yeah, so you know what? So I like the scene. It was dope, but I never felt like they didn't like each other. I felt like just like season 1, Rust and Hart.
Yeah,
they just didn't get along as like their modern selves, but at the beginning they actually got along quite well. Like we saw, when they do the time jumps in season 1, which I wish they'd have did in this.
That would have been good.
Yeah. I wish that was how they took that approach, but they didn't have no problems with each other. They borderline. Really I'm saying they borderline loved each other. They used to eat at each other's houses. Well, at least Russ used to eat at their house. Yeah. Met his wife, met his kids. Then he actually stopped. They build up to a point where they don't like each other anymore. After Hart kills that dude, they build up to where they don't like each other, and then they break up because Rust has sex with Hart's wife, and then that was the end of that relationship, right? It was like things that we can't come back from, right?
Well, to your point, yeah, this is like they had a previous relationship, so maybe this is just like this is the second half of True Detective.
That's what I'm saying. We didn't get that background. Like we should have got that part where we see them like messing with you. Like Liz brings groceries over to Navarro's house in what is like episode 2. But then she's like, "Where you change where the cans go now? Like you move the cans, like so." She been in her house enough to know where food is. Right. I don't even know where my dishes be at. Like I don't know where the spoons be at. Sometimes I mess up. So in my plate, you know what I'm saying? So,
but stuff like that I think is kind of brilliant. Where we don't need a whole episode where like we can explain the flashback episode where they used to be friends. Like that little lines like that just like shows that they have that connection.
Yeah, I can feel that. I wanted to see it though. I would have
loved a full flashback episode.
Even if it was like the Wayne's World, like
I mean, they alluded to with the Annie K arrest. They could have expanded on a little bit more as far as that backstory of 6 years ago. Definitely could have been something to enjoy.
Yeah.
They codependents now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you can't be around each other.
As we kind of get near the back half of the episode, again, we touched on the gentleman earlier, but any thoughts on Peter tossing his dad in the water? Obviously, I know Bill made a joke earlier, but I definitely believe it's to be true that Rose, this isn't her first rodeo. Literally, you go to someone's house and say, "I need to get rid of a body," and she didn't ask no questions. All right, where we going?
Yeah, so obviously, she has who made that first. I think Elle Bee said it first. Because it ain't the first rodeo, but I think everybody done killed. I think everybody
everyone has a history.
It's like it's like a bar mitzvah, baby. If you ain't in this, you have caught a body.
Right. Did anyone have anything else to add about Peter before we get into the back half of one last review?
I love that moment where she just lays it out like, you thought this was the hard part, but the hard part is actually what comes next, and that's forever. All right, like you're going to have to be dealing with this forever. And again, when we go back to the cyclical cycle of things, like that probably is the same thing that his dad has experienced. That's the same thing that Navarro and Danvers were experiencing. That like the repercussions of like what you just done, that's going to be forever. And like we could see like in 20 years from now or whatever, Pryor just like hop back up and he's like, this ain't my first rodeo either, and I'm glad that we can put an end to the Rose was dead the whole time theories.
Or was she? Someone has said, I did a watch along earlier, and someone had put in the comments that this is Rose is like the persona or the other personalities of some of these characters, like who they really want to be in the future. Navarro.
She's everybody's talent.
I think I just dislocated my shoulder with all that.
I mean, we don't know. There's a lot of mystery around Rose.
That's what happens when you have the open-ended endings, open-ended interpretations. Everybody just dives in the Reddit.
Even the detective at the end of the episode was like, "You don't have any theories about what happened?"
Rose was a guide.
She was a guide.
She should have said, "My theories are all on Reddit. Go on Reddit right now. You can go check it out."
Kayla Marie says maybe Rose was hunting ghosts. And
spin-off series, Rose the Ghost Hunter.
Rose is clearly running from a life of crime.
Something.
She's clearly had caught many bodies in other places, other states in the United States.
Introduced just like polishing and cleaning her gun off. I was like, I ain't seen you hunting once.
She said she was going to puncture his lungs
so
that he would float. Sink to the bottom instead of floating to the top. I didn't even know that. I didn't even know that. Okay, me either.
These wanted didn't. This is literally the only state that Rose could live in anymore because it's legally the only state.
It's the only place the FBI will not go.
Well, we got one more big reveal, and then we'll wrap up with just final thoughts. But Elle Bee, tossing it to you, and this is I would imagine, I haven't seen any comments, I haven't seen any things online, but I would imagine, as you mentioned earlier, there's probably a group of people that hated the big reveal here as far as what happened. So to set the stage, Elle Bee, we go back. They're having the conversations. New Year's, they have the Northern Lights, which has its own meaning of kind of rebirth within itself. But Liz comes up with the idea that, the hatch. Someone was trying to open the hatch within Clark's story. So they see there's the fingerprints and there's fingers missing. And they show us all the Easter eggs of when we met this individual by the name of Blair, missing fingers. When they got the fingerprints off the clothes, missing 2 fingers. So my question to you, Elle Bee, is how do you feel about the workers and the women of the town? Some of the women of the town, I would imagine some of them were the stillborn moms that lost their kids. Obviously, lost Annie K. A lot of injustices going on here. Is that a satisfying conclusion for you of how the scientists died? It wasn't an avalanche slab. It wasn't a polar bear. What did you think about the reveal of the crab workers, the midwives avenging Annie K?
Yeah, I thought it was dope. I really did. I thought it was dope. I love the fact that they didn't actually kill him, right? They didn't.
Yeah, on a technicality. I mean, they kidnapped him and they took the clothes in the middle of the brother, but
I didn't do it. They did it to themselves. I love that.
I would hold up in a court of law, but
we ain't even gonna get that far. We ain't even gonna need to do
that. We ain't got no bodies.
Because I mentioned again, people never even thought, right, to look at these women. They never thought, to look at women who are seriously look at, because they question B and they question Blair, but not really. But I knew that I actually wasn't surprised that B had something to do with it, because in whatever episode that was when Danvers or somebody, Navarro, went to the plant or the crab trapping place, and she was like, look at this symbol. Do you know anything about it? She was like, what is this occult symbol? What is this? You know, it wasn't because that spiral could have been anything. It could have been literally anything, but she just went to the dark side with it. And I was like, I gotta put a little pin right there.
Something there.
But I love the fact that these were the unseen women of that town, the acknowledged women of that town, not only avenging Annie K, but to avenge the people that are destroying their land. Right?
Great shot.
You are not going to damage their land, their water, their air, and you're not gonna not hear about it. They're gonna tell you about it. Now, how
and kill the babies? There's babies dying. There's generational trauma. Yep.
Like that you hitting them at every point that really matters to them as a community. And as you know, and as women in that town, right? Women in indigenous culture are extremely important to carry the next generation forward.
Right.
Their communities, right? So it wasn't the men that went and did it. It was the women. We gonna take care of these people. So, you know,
what's up with the sorry ass men up there?
Do it, but I thought it was really dope, and I didn't see it coming the way that it did, right? Because in all the other True Detectives, it wasn't as rock and roll as this one was, right? We pulling kick doors, we got guns, get your ass up, get your ass down. It wasn't really as like
cerebral,
as this season was, which I thought it was great. But I just want to give a shout out to all the unseen women in our community, right? All the people that answer the phones, answer the emails, get the coffee, the servers in the restaurant, the people that bus tables, you know, bus drivers, the people that don't get acknowledged. They are the ones who know. Baby, let me tell you something. If you ever want to know something, you talk to the people that you never would think to talk about. If you want to know tea on your doctor, you talk to his administrator. You don't talk to his administrator. Say you want to know what's going on at the school, you talk to the lady that sign you in at the front desk. That's the people that really get it done.
I mean, and to your point, LB, they're the cleaners, right? So they're literally they know everyone's dirt, right? They're every corner, you know. They're at the doctor office, they're at the Salah station, they're at the police station. They are the heartbeat of this town. Right. I love where you're getting at, but yeah. Nah, what about you, man? What about the big reveal? Like I said, I know there's a whole section of people that probably hate. Oh my goodness, this show, they just let the women get away with it. They're the killer. Like, how do you feel about not even that side, but just feel about the reveal?
Dude, that music drop. In this scene,
like a
incredible.
Chant.
I'm about to
didn't even pay any attention.
That I'm about to be, I'm about to be working out for that because that was so dope. One of my biggest questions is about kind of this whole thing. Like I agree with everything that the women did here. I just still perplexed about the scientists because they're saying oh yeah, these pollutants, they actually manufacture this microorganism or whatever, or facilitate that. How about you have all the money in the world, just build the mine, somewhere else.
Just then it won't melt the ice enough so that
but they know
proximity of it. Yeah,
but they know the pollutants that they're going to be using.
You mean just manufacture those pollutants and concentrate it to melt the ice?
Exactly.
I feel you.
That instead of poisoning a town, right?
Well, that's the evilness of it. Yeah.
Right. That sounds like I don't kill babies, and that's half of the reason that I'm here is to kill babies.
That's what makes it so despicable because. Yeah, if you are trying to solve this whole big complex issue of de-aging or making people live forever, or causing, curing every disease, then yeah, you're onto something. You have a peer-reviewed essay, you have research to back that up, and then all you need to do is just build that facility somewhere else.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's great logic, but they also season 1 was a bunch of people like killing children so that they could find the same immortality that allegedly that they figure out how to fund later on. So,
and that's what I felt like they could have elaborated on a bit more,
a little bit more.
Yeah. Well, we seen throughout. Sorry, just to say real quick, and I'll let you go. But I just we've seen throughout history a lot of times when corporations will be like, well, we could do this one very simple thing that'll save a lot of people's lives and make things safer for everyone. But to save a few dollars, we're just going to not do that. And
right,
save a few dollars.
That definitely happens. Yeah, but actually, that's just the world that we're living in.
It's just America.
But to your point, the awesome thing about that is when the ladies say, go out there, you're going to now live by our rules the way that you've been subjecting us to yours, and we'll let the ice decide.
Yeah.
And I love that a lot.
Yeah.
Very Batman. I'm not gonna kill you, but I don't have to save you type of thing.
Right. Yeah.
I love that comment that you just pulled up.
Which one was it?
The one the creator said the killers would be in our face the entire season, and they were. I mean,
yeah,
that petrified, man. Like them, the women were there in every episode almost. Can we talk about the white lady who is with the whole elder, like the white lady with the fingers though?
That also relates back to Sedna, right?
She the only white. It does. That's what I'm saying. That's what I talked about earlier, the cutting the fingers off. But why is this white lady there? Like she's the only white lady in the group of the indigenous women there.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
I'm just saying.
I mean, she might have. She might be half.
Yeah, in this town are treated the same way.
Yeah,
That's true.
She's just like, she's just got really cool with
maybe
all the American girls.
In my mind, they made her cut her fingers off so she could be a part of the tribe. That's in my mind. That's just in my mind.
They said in episode 1 that when you work at the crab factory, you're working with Shop Arjack. So she just, just probably an accident one day. And also, like I said, going back to the setting of it all, I think you just hit, I think she's supposed to be kind of characteristically looks like a sin. Yeah, like kind of the illusion of the setting of the missing fingers, the red hair, So there's, those little
maybe she's not even there.
And then when you think about what indigenous women look like, you can't really say by looking at a woman or a person.
Right. You don't know what
that's true. That's true.
You know what I mean?
She because just have red hair,
and has two black parents, and she has gray eyes and blonde hair and curly hair. Right? And she got two black parents. So you can't really tell, that lady she could have been.
That's true.
But she also could have been seeking help from elders in the community. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, when we first met her, she was abused. She got hit in the face. Her boyfriend came to her job, punched her in the face in front of everyone. So where
does that happen at? Right? That was crazy.
Literally every day.
Yeah,
that is crazy.
Yeah,
all of the time.
So I mean, going back to what Elle Bee said, it's the women of the town that pick up the people that are broken, that are hurt, that are abused, that need to be, accepted. So to answer my own question, I like the reveal. Again, I'm confident that there's a lot of people that probably hate that is the moment of the big moment of the science is there. But it makes sense when you think of the narratively speaking, as you guys all have said. They're killing their babies. They're killing the town. They're killing their land. They're stopping their legacy by just going. And we know this is just history within itself. People coming to lands, taking lands, colonizing the land. So there's a history of that. For the women to speak up, to stand up, to say this is enough, I think it's a pretty poetic way to end the story.
And Jen the Queen, the comment. Oh, go ahead, LB. I was just wanting him to pull that up. Jen the Queen. Her most recent one. And
I have indigenous DNA, and I am blonde white lady. I'm a blonde white lady.
There you go.
Blonde white lady. Right there. There it is. Right there.
And I think that's a part of why I really wanted some more more highlight on if it is Sedna, you know, to highlight that for us, right? Because we don't get indigenous culture on TV. We never, unless it's like stereotypical, you know what I mean? Shit. We never get a nuanced character on TV that's indigenous. We never get to learn about anything other than the Cherokee, the Chippewa, the, you know what I'm saying? The tribes that we know, right? And we never, and these people are First Nations. They're not Native Americans, because this is Alaska. These are First Nations people. So I've never seen anything with a First Nations person in it, right? And so this was a good opportunity for us to learn more about that and about, you know, the culture of that community, and to learn that, you know, this is how they looking. What were those markings called? You know what I'm saying? Do you get them at a certain time? Do you get them when you know?
I'm saying two more episodes. Actually, drag it out a little bit longer.
I think it should be 10. I'm a firm believer that if you do these, if you're not going to do 26 episode format, then you need to do 10. You have to have 10 episodes that let me really, like, as a director and a writer, let us cook, let us really get this bogged down. I mean, you know, and then if we need be, we do a second season or whatever. You know what I mean?
I would have loved season 1, part 1, or, you know, part 2 type of situation where it's like 6 and 6 even, and we get like a grand reveal, but like there's still mysteries, and, you know, we go on and you know, find some more things out. But again, you know, budget and also the climate that they're shooting in, as you guys referenced before, that would have been a bit unrealistic. But,
you know, LB, I'm gonna do a little self plug. You mentioned something about the stories, and for everyone afterwards, you can check out the full breakdown. But I had a little snippet in my breakdown that kind of alludes to what LB just said. Can you guys hear this?
Yeah. Turn it up.
Hold on.
There's a little bit of echo.
So I really want to try to bring back the history of our people. So many of them are lost, and I'm just trying to show that we had stories from a long time ago that are no longer.
You have to mute your mic, MovieFiles.
As Liz tells them that the case is officially closed. Did you guys hear it at all?
Yeah.
It was. You just have to mute your mic and then just replay that, or just replay that.
Traditions can ultimately bring connection and hope. Robin mentioned how preserving these traditions can ultimately bring connection and hope.
With these stories, I really want to try to bring back the history of our people. So many of them are lost, and I'm just trying to show that we had stories from a long time ago that are no longer being told by a lot of people anymore.
As Liz tells them that the case is officially closed. So yeah, I mean, again, you can listen to the podcast and also watch my review. But no, it is a as LB was alluding to, these are just stories that a lot of unspoken stories out there for so many different, you know, cultures and people out there. So and this is the nail in the coffin. I love when B says, you know, oh, it's just a story. And as Navarro says, you know, when it comes to what are you going to do? Are you going to arrest us? Stories are stories. So I think it's a really interesting way to kind of pull it all together. But before wrapping this thing up, before we give our final scores, is there any question that went unanswered, a stone that went unturned that is bothering you guys? Starting with you,
LB. LB already got it.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about it.
I don't like
because that was.
It was a huge part of this, the beginning of the episode, what drew me in, because the tongue is never supposed to be on the ground. Like, never, there's never a reason the tongue should be on the ground. So if you giving me a tongue on the ground, you're gonna have to wrap it up for me. You're gonna have to tell me because like, it's Annie's tongue. Great. It's 6 years old though. Why is it here now? Like, who put it there? Why is it there? Why is it under the table? Did he lose it? Did it fly out his hand? Like, what's going on with the tongue?
Yeah,
seriously. I completely agree. If we arrested they arrested Lorena Bobbitt back in the day, right? If all of a sudden we just found the remnants of her assault somewhere, we'd be like, now how did that happen? Like, how in the world?
I was here 6 years later. It's perfect.
And I feel like the detectives at the end, when they was interviewing Liz, they didn't say, so how do you explain this damn tongue though?
Yeah,
like because that's the only thing that would have got me if I was a detective. So yeah, Elle Bee, what is up with the tongue?
Yeah, I don't like that. They still.
I
That's
bite
why
my tongue, it's a bad habit.
when we first started the live, you asked how I felt about the episode, and I said I'm a little annoyed because there are still tons of things that were big parts of the show and big pieces of intrigue for me that or not even all of them, but there are still tons of because where the hell Oliver went? Like where did
right?
Why did the caribou jump the smooth off the cliff in the beginning? Like what made them do that? Did the indigenous women make the caribou do it? I don't think so. So what's up with that? Like there's still tons of things, and I know a true detective won't wrap it up neatly in a bowl for you, but they're at least gonna put it in the box, and you got to go through it, to sift through it, to figure it out. But those things are that tongue is pissing me off. You don't put that on.
Remove the tongue,
man. Like I don't understand why they would even make such a big deal about it if we weren't gonna get a resolution with it.
Yeah.
And then obviously they smiled at the camera because they brought it up twice. Obviously, Clark said we didn't have anything to do with the tongue, and then obviously later B says we didn't do anything with the tongue. To me, and I would love to hear Bill, Alex, and Nine's opinion on it or theory. I think it was another totem, just like the manifestation of the orange, the necklace, the bear, the glass. I think that the tongue was Annie K. I think that she planted that there as like not Easter egg, but like hint, tug. This is where it all began. These are the people that are responsible for my death. Look into this. Again, it's metaphor, scientifically, supernaturally not explained, but I think that was another reason why I was there. It was a little clue from the dead. Annie K being the clue.
The crystallization of
I could be wrong.
Where the tongue was, the crystallization of what happened. Look, man, I think this is one of those, like, remember when Tenet came out and everybody was like, yo, what did we just see? Like, what does this mean? And it took like 3 years before everybody figured out what Tenet really meant. I feel this is one of them situations. You have to watch
Tenet backwards and it makes sense.
I think this is one of them situations where we really gonna be talking about this for some years to come. Just like, to like really get, because I think there's things that we're missing. We're all talking about this like right after we just watched it. You know what I'm saying? I think this is some things that we're missing. It might take like 50 rewatches before you really catch everything.
Because what did the little boy's drawing mean?
Which
you
one?
Remember in the beginning of
Darwin? That again, that was another.
In
my opinion, that was another Cinda reference because her story is her fingers were cut off. So we saw in that picture her fingers were cut off. So it's a town legend. Darwin in episode 1 when he was under the the
Peter
found it.
Stupid
Peter's little boy.
Because he was like, "Why is your mom telling our son these little horrific stories? He's drawing stories." Again, the town legend. To me, it was another Sedna reference.
Yeah, I feel like the only way to explain it is like the tongue is like is that it's some sort of supernatural thing. And I do like that. I wish that there was maybe some sort of explanation for it too, but
it doesn't matter.
What does the missing tongue represent? It like also means like
it means you sleep with the fishes. It means you're a snitch. That's what it means. They cut your tongue out when they mean don't say nothing.
I was thinking about like more so of the fact like I was making that joke about like I bite my tongue gets bad. You know what I'm saying? Like like
you think she's on cocaine? Is that what you're saying?
No, it's like the secrecy. Like I'm not going to tell. Like in all of these situations, it's kind of like, I had to do this thing and now I have to bite my tongue.
Right.
Or, something like that. But I'm not sure if that really, answers it all because again, where did you guys don't believe what Clark said at all, right? Like,
right. Yeah.
To a degree. I would agree. Somebody in the chat
I think the cop story was true because Hank said the same thing. Hank confirmed that he was sent, and Kate said, you got the body and moved the body.
But Clark also said like maybe he cut out the tongue as like as a message.
And I would
have believed that if like narratively, it's just like script wise, if Navarro didn't ask like everybody at the end is like, so like in your story, what did you do with the tongue? Like, I feel like the show is just like raising that question again. Otherwise, they would have just like told us to like, oh, well, that question's already been answered.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
somebody put it in
Like,
the
hold your
chat too.
secrets, I guess. Hold your secrets.
Yeah. And also, I think the tongue is a representation of like speaking up, like literally in our face.
Yeah.
You know, this community speaking up for the dead, because the dead can't speak for themselves. Annie K couldn't speak for herself and tell what happened. So they're telling the story, continuing the story, and speaking for her in a sense. So I mean, so many different ways to look into it. But I'm with you, LB. My burning question was what happened with Oliver, because he seemed to be someone that was important. Like, I thought that he quit so long because he found out, you're killing my people, I'm not going to work for you guys. But then he kept quiet. He didn't tell anyone. But also like the Kate of it all, Connolly of it all. I don't really care too much, but I'm wondering, like, did Kate get wrapped up into, like, she works for the mine, they're killing people? Did she go to jail? Did the Tuttles pay her off, or not pay her off, but pay for her lawyer fees? Things of that nature were things that came to mind for me.
And then why would Oliver leave after Navarro showed him the symbol and then told him that the people were dead? Why would he be like, oh, I gotta go? Like, why, you know?
Did Oliver die? Because his clothes, his whole situation was he left his clothes there, he left his gun there, the symbols there. So did he go out in the snow and die?
They didn't find his body. We didn't hear anything about it.
If it's gonna be supernatural, the supernatural all gotta make sense. If it's gonna be in this realm, it all has to make sense. You can't flip flop and pick and choose what goes with supernatural and what goes with real life this way, because Oliver, that wasn't on his little area. You know, I don't know. It just
I don't even remember what was the point of his character. I can't remember.
Well, that's what I was about to say. His point of his character is he was the other engineer that was missing, that had no background, just like Otis. Otis didn't have no background. Also, Otis Heist seemed like a gangster name. Like, he sounded like a gangster, Otis Heist. But anyway, that's the reason that was the plot device he served at the time, like to explain who these people were, what they were working on. But we didn't need him for that. We went to the geology. We went to the geology teacher or whatever, the geography teacher. And we talked
Bryce.
About that. So we didn't need him to do that. And actually, you just take his whole scene out, like everything that had to do with Oliver, and we have the same show and actually less questions. You know what I mean? Like, that's what leads me to believe this is an 8 to 10 episoder that, you know, they got cut down. Because I think every other. No, I guess the other seasons were 6 episodes too, huh? Or were they 10?
Or 8. No, those seasons were 8 to 10.
8 to 10.
So
I think that's what they should have ran with. Like, this must have got cut down with COVID or something. Like, something happened here that we're going to get revealed to us later in some interviews after some probably negative reactions. We're probably going to. Producers usually feel, you know, pressure to talk about the things that went wrong once they get a negative reaction. So I'm interested to see what comes out after this.
Final supernatural question that was posed to me in the after show or the watch party: is there a assumption that you guys think Navarro died at the end and that was her ghost, or that if that was actually Navarro on the balcony with Liz? Because we see her walking on the ice,
it was
in the snow. It was Navarro. She was in the present. Yeah, I think she was.
That's all I gotta say. That's how.
Because they almost make it like she's a mythological type of entity, because they're like, there's sightings of Navarro. Can you explain? Like, she's like, there's a ghost, and they mention, you know, people in Innis see dead people. So because she didn't, you know, I would have thought that her and Navarro or her and Kavik would have had their little, you know, moment together. Like, why didn't she gave him his toothbrush back? But
I want to count. There's this comments here. It was from Jen the Queen. At least he got his toothbrush back, and then immediately after, Roger Mazuka01 says, "True that, poor guy hadn't brushed his teeth in like 2 weeks."
Poor guy, poor whoever had to talk to him that week.
I just thought that was funny.
I don't know. I think, you know, in my opinion, if I'm dead or alive, why am I going to kick it with Danvers? I don't see that. I don't see that. Especially
that's your codependent.
I don't see my girl traveling from wherever she was at to come back and stand on a porch with Danvers. That don't seem like nothing she would want to do. I don't know.
Where's Navarro from again? Like, she's like a trans. Right?
I think she's from Ennis, but then they moved to Boston. And the dad beat him up. They ran back to the town because the dad was abusive. So
right. Okay. And so I just feel like, you know, and then if she, and then I feel like they want the viewer to glean what they wanted from it, right? Because you know, the way that it was set up, I didn't even know what it was because she
I don't think
and you know, it was a nice lake house and it was, you know, nice furniture and stuff. And Danvers' house looked like it was like 2 steps up from a trap house in right? But in this point, it's a nice fully furnished lake house. And I'm like, well, who is this for?
She got a raise?
Maybe it's just what it looked like when it ain't snowing. Like
that's that Airbnb, I guess.
But you know, the way that it was set up, there was like a curtain, like a divide between the two, and they were very far apart.
Right.
And Danvers kind of looked that way, and Navarro didn't look that, you know, that way when she did. And then when Navarro looked at Danvers was looking straight ahead. It was like they never made eye contact with each other. But you know, I just feel like they, you know, that divide made it seem as though Navarro is
Are you able to play just like just the 10 seconds before, like, you know, as she's walking up? Because you're right about that, Elle Bee. Like the fact that that is a very cinematic approach to showing some type of separation, is the fact that there was that divide in the shot.
This is why I said it was like Christopher Nolan directed this episode, because this is very Inception.
Yeah, this felt like a spinning top.
The spinning top. This is was it real? Was it fake? Was this her seeing a ghost?
Because when I was watching it, it almost looked like she walked like from
kind of walked out of
from
the wall,
the right to the left. Are you able to play that or no?
I don't want to. I don't. HBO.
She definitely walks from the right to the left. I just still think that Navarro's alive, and let me tell you why. She walked. All she did was walk in the daytime through the snow. Like there was no blizzard. It's still sunny outside. Like she could have been walking to Rose's house for all we know. Like we can't see nothing past a certain point anyway. Like and she like knows this area well enough where she has been walking through. You know, to find her sister Julie. Like she went to the dredge. Like she's aware of her surroundings. I think that she just kind of falling off the face of the earth. You know what I'm saying? To get away from everybody, because
away from everything.
Because it's just all too much. Like because she probably feels super clairvoyant now. Like right, she see ghosts like that little boy in the little movie.
Yeah, she Jean Grey right now.
Right, she Jean Grey.
She's gonna act like Jules Winfield and walk the earth.
And Liz is her Professor X.
It was like the women were saying how, you know, they let the ice choose. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
And went on her walk, and the ice told her to go ahead and stay alive.
Right. I mean, I think narratively, like Elle Bee just getting that. The seeds were planted early on. Well, every time she walked in the snow, she would have her moment when she couldn't move past. But also in this episode, Liz tells her, "Hey, that time in the car when you said you ever want to just walk away and disappear, come back. Next time, if you decide to do that, just make sure to come back." So I think narratively, this is her coming back. She did her walk. She got her clearance. She got her name. She's the sun after the darkness. And now she's able to walk the land, you know, freely.
Yes.
Because she's fully herself now.
And like also, like I would feel bad if like I feel like, you know, it would be a loss. And
to kill off after all that stuff, and
Navarro just kill herself, like that would be pretty weird.
Terrible. And
if they did do that, they should have put the little verbiage about suicide in the
at the end.
Right. A little bit.
A bunch of people did that in this show and they didn't say anything about it.
Yeah.
But before we wrap up,
you need to talk to somebody, you know.
Go ahead.
Please do. But shout out to my man.
Hit up on Twitter and Instagram or something if you feel like you're hurting yourself, and I would love to talk to you.
For sure. Shout out to my man Tim. Do you think Mare of Easttown could be considered a better season of True Detective than Night Country? LOL. First off, have any of you guys watched Mare of Easttown?
I
was literally going to say earlier that Mayor of Easttown could have been tacked down as a True Detective season.
Mayor of Easttown was fire.
Yeah,
I didn't see that. I don't want to spoil it. That twist at the end, I did not see coming.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie, man. We be on our I feel like we're all in a bubble, but I don't, because I ain't never heard of that.
I've heard of
Kate
it.
Winslet.
I love Kate Winslet. Yeah.
Mayor of Easttown is one, if you're gonna watch something that's one season,
that is good.
Go ahead and watch Mayor of Easttown.
There was talks about a season 2, which that
is one of the
since we're talking about detective shows.
Yeah,
one season detective shows,
and I love when it's gritty. I love when Kate Winslet is like not, in a dress, and you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, right. I love that show. Shout out to I don't want to say rest in peace to a certain character, but yeah, it's a great show. So to answer your question, Tim, I'm glad Mayor of Easttown is his own story. Really good story. Have you guys, speaking of HBO, and have you guys watched The Outsider?
Yeah,
Stephen King, El Cuco.
Yeah.
If you guys like this and you like horror, like Stephen King, watch Outsider, starring Ben Mendelsohn. It is. You saw it, Nine?
And if you want the supernatural elements, then
that definiitely is. Watch the Outsider.
It's a true detective, supernatural through and through type of story, and
very dark. Very dark.
They don't try to lean away.
It is straight up Stephen King. Yeah.
Crazy.
Okay.
Yeah. It's cool.
I'm just gonna throw out Bodies on Netflix as a detective TV show.
I remember that. Yeah, it came out.
I'm gonna say it came out a minute ago, though, right?
Yeah, it came out last year.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Damn.
Well, final thoughts. I think to tie it up at the beginning, I guess just yes or no around the table panel. Alex, Bill, was the True Detective lore, symbols, Tuttle, Russ, did it enhance your experience? Did it decrease experience, or you could have went without it? Was it needed?
I feel like, if you take it all out, it would make a nice show like Mayor of Easttown, or like any of these really great like one season dramas, like the Night Of, or anything like that the HBO does. But I do feel like the little bits do enhance parts of the story. I do think it makes some of the parts help with the exposition without it making it feel like fan service. But on the whole, I don't think it was incredible. Like, I don't feel like it super enhanced everything. I just feel like it was a nice little thing to explain certain plot points.
Yeah, I feel like it was. So this would be my third favorite. If we got 4 seasons, this would be my third. 1 being my favorite, 3 being my second, and then 4 being my third. Sorry, that was confusing.
So you set yourself up for a hard challenge.
Yeah, right. I shouldn't even did that. But like season 3 and season 1 are like 9 and 8.9, right? Like they're like neck and neck. So this one it's right up there still, you know what I mean? But yeah, this was a dope season. I just feel like well, I honestly felt the same way after season 1. Like, yo, why didn't they explain this? Why didn't they explain that? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm still confused about certain things in season 1. So I love this season, but yeah, it's definitely not as good as 3, not as good as 1, but better than 2. Way better than 2.
Yeah, I think anything's better than 2. 2 was bad. Only good thing about that to me was Colin Farrell. He was pretty.
We didn't even watch the last episode. We got to the next to last episode. We were like, "Do you want to keep watching this?" It was like, "No, I don't want to keep watching." Okay, good.
Elle Bee, what about you? What did you think about, going back to our topic at the beginning, the True Detective mantra, title, all the baggage that comes with that? Was it needed in this particular season, and did it enhance your experience with the Spiral, Russ, Travis, Tuttle family name drops?
No, I didn't need it. I mean, I don't need anything that doesn't connect, because it's wasting my time at the end of the day. Just to put it in there because you can. I don't like that. Don't, you're taking my attention away, because when I was equating the polar bear having one eye to that black man in season 3 that had the milky eye that was at the library at the time, and they don't have nothing. So I'm thinking, but if you're showing me connections between season 1 and and season 3, and you dropping them here, I'm obviously think that they're connected. But then if you don't connect them, you're wasting my time, and I don't like that. Okay, so I didn't need it, and I don't think the show, and I didn't like the fact that they in this season made the Carcosa spiral an indigenous symbol. Like, I marked this, the guy's head was marked because B wanted to do something to let her know something like that. I don't know, but now it has a whole different meaning. That this, that we were thinking that it was this, but it's that, and the symbol, the way that they use it is older than the symbol that they used in
season 1. Yeah,
it's too much. It's just too much. Don't give me all of that, and don't wrap it up for me. And you know what I'm saying? It was just don't. I be getting turned. Don't make me get turned. The moral of the story is no, I didn't need it, and they could have left it out.
Elle Bee, since I just kind of like figured out why thumbs up keeps on appearing on the screen, can you give me a 2 thumbs down?
Who, me?
Can you go like this? Yeah, can you go like that? Is that gonna work? Oh
no,
it's not.
Gotta be one.
You can only
it happens on the 5.
Thumbs up.
It happens on the 5s. If you hold it up, you do the hearts like this,
because I'm not the only one that noticed that, right? Okay. So.
No, yeah, it's a setting. Yeah, it's like it's a setting that
I do this.
Yeah. It's a couple times your thumbs up. It's a thumbs up that comes up on your screen.
There it is. That's another one.
Oh wow!
If you do like this,
it's a setting.
Hearts. You just gotta hold it for a second.
I don't know if there it goes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, now do the 2 thumbs down. Let's see if that works. Okay. That's how you feel about the topic. Yeah, that's how you feel about the topic.
I didn't know that. That was really distracting me. I kept seeing the thumbs up. Like, everybody's saying things that need a thumbs up. Why? And I didn't want to say anything because I was like, I don't want nobody to feel played. But why is nobody listening? It's been me the whole time. I'm sorry. I don't even know how that happened.
Case, another mystery, Elle Bee, another mystery. It's the case. Open up the case.
The
emojis.
That's
funny.
Because like as you were just talking about like how you didn't like it, thumbs up appeared, and I was like, well, that's not.
What about you, Nan? What did you think about the fan service? Too fan servicey or just enough?
I feel like it is just enough because it kept me, I don't know, actually, because I would have watched this. Jodie Foster in a detective series, sign me up. You don't need the auxiliary of having it be a true detective season either. The same way that Mare of Easttown is just Kate Winslet being a detective and being a cop. I'm gonna watch it. Okay. And then the same thing with Jodie. But at the same time, I do think that they did it's not the worst job for fan service, right? And it does expand on some, like, we're now literally in the True Detective multiverse or whatever, right?
What do we call it? The TDU, the True Detective Universe?
Yeah. And
10 years in the making.
Mr. and Mr. Smith is going to come in and also help out with the Avengers team up movie that they're going to do. But at the end of the day, did we actually get any type of resolution to one of those questions? No, we really.
I think the spiral of it all was, as Elle Bee was talking about, was it was a warning for hunters to not step on certain ice to fall into the night country. Was like a town legend, but I think there were some other meanings to the spiral. I think tied into just like the idea of the night country consuming you, like the underworld. But yeah,
Yeah, but you know, at the same time, that's again where I'm saying like, 8 to 10 episodes, and then actually do the damn thing, and then we will probably be right there. And more, I'm like, yes, watch the show.
Yeah,
but as far as it goes right now, you know, it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm kind of the same boat with you guys. I could have went with it or without it. It was fun, right? When we heard Travis Cole, was like, oh, that's pretty cool. But I know a lot of people took it to the next level, like, oh, that means Matthew McConaughey going to pop up in the season finale, coming to save the day. But no, I thought it was okay. Like I didn't, I could have went without it, but also I don't think it didn't damage anything, but also to Elle Bee's point, it would have been nice to maybe get a little bit more of conclusions to certain things that were the Tuttle family. Okay, what happened to now one of your mines that you are funding is shut down? Are people going to now start knocking on your door and tying it to the crimes you were involved with 20 years ago? So, but again, hopefully maybe season 5, you know, they'll address some of those things. But
hopefully,
shoot for it.
If y'all don't mind.
I
read that the budget for it was $60 million for this
for this show.
For this show,
Oh, okay, so like $10 million an episode.
So do y'all think that was well spent? Do y'all see that $60 million in the episode in the season?
Not exactly.
Well, 10 of it is Jodie Foster, right?
10 of it's probably Jodie. Like at least 5 of it is Jodie Foster.
I say 5 to 7. That's Jodie.
But then when you're talking about like shooting in the elements in that weather,
there was probably a lot of post production.
There was they wrote it and then they got the script and then they rewrote it to fit into the True Detective narrative. That's probably costing a little bit of money. I don't think that's outrageous when we're looking at like some of the Marvel TV shows that we've gotten in the last like couple of years, and they are ballooning up to 200 million for 6 episodes. Then like this seems then reasonable, especially with the amount of extras, and the town of Ennis actually seemed lived in. Like it looked like we could actually go to all of those locations.
It's 6 of them.
It's crazy.
I would like to know how much time was taken on it, because there's the whole thing where if you want something done right or do you want it done fast, and it feels like Marvel spends a whole lot of money to get a whole bunch of stuff done fast, but you'll see shows like Foundation where they have like half the budget of a show like Game of Thrones, and their show still looks incredible because they spend a lot of time.
But then you have shows like House of the Dragon or House of Dragon that are phenomenal. That spent a whole bunch of money, and you're like, there go that money right there. There it is. I see it. So it goes both ways. It's just about
how you spend your money.
It's how you spend your money and how you spend your time, right? Like that's why Steven Spielberg get that good money, because he be on time and his stuff come out great. So if you can do that in Hollywood, man, you will get a check all the time.
Was that Cat Williams' interview? They know I'm going to be there. I know they're going to be there. They know I'm going to do a good job.
Well, speaking of good jobs, man, this was a fantastic conversation. We're approaching 3 hours. We're 3 episodes in to True Detective as far as the length of the stream. So we're going to wrap this thing up. This was fun, man. Like I said up top, to everyone that engaged in the conversation and made this, like I said earlier, this was, check the numbers. Numbers don't lie. This season was the most viewed season of any season of True Detective, which speaks to the quality and speaks to the intrigue and speaks to, we love our murder mysteries. So keep it coming, HBO. Look forward to seeing what the next one is. But starting up top with Bill and Alex, man, where can people find you all, and when's the next stream that you guys are going to be going live to talk about this show and all the other great things you guys cover?
Thank you for asking. We are gonna, you guys can find us on our YouTube channel, The Drunk Banthas, where we talk about sci-fi, fantasy, horror, and all the popular art that we love. Also, we do it drunk, mostly drunk, every Monday at 8 p.m. Pacific time. And we're also have a show called Does It Hold Up, where we review old classic genre films to see if they're as good or as bad as we remember. We got an episode of The Last Dragon coming out tomorrow, so that's going to be super fun.
Yeah, happy Black History Month.
Happy Black History Month. And then the week after that, we're doing Nutty Professor with our boy Nine. That's going to be a good episode. And we also have a video where I'm going to be reviewing all the DCU movies and specifically reviewing Aquaman and Aquaman 2. So, guys, check that out.
Yeah.
If you're interested in nerdy stuff.
My man. I love Aquaman. My guy. Nah, man, where can people find you? And when's I know you like to you cook. You cook now. You let your stuff marinate, cook before you drop the bombs on people. What is a little tease for people out there? When can we expect another Nine Nerd deep dive?
Oh my gosh, there's so many things that I have on the docket. You can find me on 9NerdYards. The next video that I'm actually going to be dropping is going to be on Nerds at Night. That's more of a collaboration channel. And if you watch the Drunk Banthas or if you watch Nerds at Night, that's where we're going to be talking about this show tomorrow, plus Halo, and plus Fantastic Four. And but for now, I'm still doing Atlanta stuff. I am still doing a bunch of people are hitting me up about Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and I want to make my own commentary about that. Might just drop a long form video about the whole season. The Vince Staples show, I'm going to be watching that this week. So there's a bunch of episodes and videos that I need to get to right now. And they're all marinating as you said. Hit me up on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter if you want to just get a hold of me. A lot of people have been, and again, I'm just, if you want to just chat about something, if you want to give me a recommendation to watch, or just want to you just like chatting, then join our Discord too and talk to me. Shit.
Yeah.
I want to make a video about Talk to Me. That movie was fun.
It was. Speaking of fire.
Which Talk to Me?
A24 horror movie.
Yeah, that was the one last.
Wasn't there one? Yeah. Wasn't there one with Don Cheadle?
Yeah, there was one with Don Cheadle. Also a good movie.
Okay.
It's a good movie.
Cool. Well, speaking of good and speaking of fire, Elle Bee, it is always great to see you. Why don't you let the people at home know where they can find you, and when's the next awesome review / rant / kicking in with the homie, breaking down these great shows and movies you do on your channel?
Oh, thanks, E. So I am Elle Bee. My channel is Watch With Me, Elle Bee, and you can find me here on the local YouTube channel, Trapped in This Box, fussing about the things that I see on TV. Or movies and stuff. I'm gonna try to do more movies than TV shows, which is what I've been doing for the past year or so. But movies have just not been good, and I don't want to be the lady that just gets on here and fusses about stuff all the time. Because if you give me trash, I'm gonna tell you it's trash. But
did you just watch Madam Web?
Oh my God! Listen, don't get me started, because I'm trying to tell the people what I got going on, and I'm gonna get off on a tangent. Okay, so I'm currently reviewing Truman Capote and the Swines, which was recommended to me by the folks that watch my channel, and so that is a very interesting show, one that I never thought I would get into, but it's so messy, and I love messy stuff. Rich people mess is just so different, it's just so weird. So I just love to get insights on that. But I'm gonna also try to do more Marvel content, because I feel like Marvel, especially X-Men 97, my heart is going pitter-patter about X-Men 97. Try to do that. Superhero stuff doesn't usually perform well on my channel, but I'm trying to open up my horizons. Okay, I'm trying to just broaden what it is that I do. So if you're interested in movie and TV show rants and reviews and recaps and all those things, you can check me out on YouTube. And I'm very active on TikTok, not so much on Instagram.
Watching.
But you can check me out on TikTok, because I do lots of other shenanigans that I don't post on YouTube over there. So check me out.
Yes, do yourself a favor. Check out Alex, Bill, Nine, and Elle Bee on their respective channels, which are great channels. And I can't wait to see what you guys have lined up next. As far as over here, This is the end of True Detective, but this is only the beginning of the summer blockbuster season for movies and shows. So for my movie fans out there, for my sci-fi fans out there, I will be traveling to Arrakis on Tuesday to see Dune Part 2, my most anticipated film of the year.
Did you get a popcorn bucket?
That's for the late night show 9. I'm gonna do my review the popcorn on another channel, but expect some, I think there's an embargo, but expect some type of reaction once I see it on Tuesday. And then other things to look forward to. March is a big month. King Kong versus Godzilla Part 2. For my Invincible fans, season 2 of Invincible's returning, Part 2 of season 2. Now I know we talked about this months ago, but finally Three Body Problems premiering on Netflix next month for my sci-fi heads out there. And there's something else coming. There's a lot of good stuff to look forward to. We're approaching the fun time. Ghostbusters comes out next month, so this is the beginning of what I hope to be, because I did see Madam Web and I'd rather not talk about it ever again. So we're getting out of the.
We can have I'm holding therapy sessions for Madam Web viewers on Tuesdays and Thursdays now.
The less to say about that, the better. But a lot of things to look forward to. Fallout. Yep, I see Fallout's coming out as well. That trailer was fire.
So good.
A lot of good stuff. I think that's the end of this month.
Very rarely disappoints.
Oh yeah, they always hitting home runs. But speaking of home runs, man, this is a fun time. 9, Elle Bee, Alex, Bill, I appreciate y'all joining me tonight, and hopefully we can do this again for another good show to cover. So for myself, excuse me, Elle Bee, 9, Alex, and Bill, we appreciate y'all. And if you learn anything tonight, watch out. There you go. There you go.
Don't bite your tongue.
There you go. Catch y'all later.